Cause you know I get down, baby. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. Cause you know I get down, baby. You know how I ride in corners. The OGs in the hood try to warn us to watch out for these suckers when your wrist stay icy. On the dance floor, all the ladies like me. Make them fall in love and kiss the swag. Just to have my babies in a Fendi bag. No refund, you can keep the tag. Cause I'm a stunner, ain't no wonder why my folks get mad at me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. Cause you know I get down, baby. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. Cause you know I get down, baby. Let the rims keep on spinning. Home team, no L's, keep winning. Whoever wants smoke, I'm with it. Down for whatever, for the squad, no switching with me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. Cause you know I get down, baby. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. Cause you know I get down, baby. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. Cause you know I get down, baby.
Make them fall in love and kiss the swag. Just to have my babies in a Fendi bag. No refund, you can keep the tag. Cause I'm a stunner, ain't no wonder why my phone's get mad. Make them fall in love and kiss the swag. Just to have my babies in a Fendi bag. No refund, you can keep the tag. Cause I'm a stunner, ain't no wonder why my phone's get mad.
She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. Cause you know I get down, baby. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. She wanna ride with me. Cause you know I get down, baby.
2022 Hot 6 GSL SuperTournament Season 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final GSL tournament of 2022, the GSL SuperTournament. I'm Tasteless, joined with me is Snake. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Excited to cast some StarCraft 2 games today. We got 4 exciting best-of-5s ahead of us to start things off, and it feels good to be back in this studio.
It's good to be casting again. Last time we were together, we were at the Tasteless LAN party. We had a little bit of downtime in between then. But look, I always love doing Super Tournament. I love the kind of traditional bracketed format. And I think we should have some pretty exciting matches. We do have a little bit of mismatches here, too, as well.
Yeah, we're starting out with a couple of mismatches. I mean, Maru, the clear favorite in the Classic in the first
G5L.
Yeah, G5L. I mean, he's fresh off of his 5th GSL championship, the winningest GSL player of all time, arguably the best StarCraft 2 player of all time. And Classic, he's been struggling to kind of get back since he came back from military service last year. And
yeah, I mean, Classic is a player who, for a period of time, was kind of on top of the world. But, I mean, Maru essentially, if not the most consistent, at least one of the most consistent players throughout the entire history of StarCraft, a player who has really defined the race at very different periods of the game, at different expansions, at different patches, and of course coming out here with a 5th GSL win, which has really never been done before. And even the players that got close to that in the past, they really were doing that like in the first year of StarCraft 2, obviously over a decade ago, where the game was not figured out. It was a lot more wild, wild west as far as meta goes and RTS understanding goes. So, I mean, he's still, I think, probably the clear favorite for the entire tournament.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great showing there at DreamHack as well, as he barely lost to Hero, I believe, in the semifinals in a very close series. Of course, Hero versus Bunny, the DreamHack Grand Finals is going to be a round 1 match here in GSL Super Tournament, which honestly is kind of GSL like in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have like an international tournament Grand Finals is the first round here. I mean, like top to bottom, these brackets are just absolutely stacked with talent. So many star players, so many champions, and here we have the bracket right in front of you. Maru versus Classic, of course, starting things out, and then we're going to go into ByuN versus Armani, Creator versus Solar, and GuMiho and Special to wrap things up here on day 1.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of foreign representation here with Special. He's very consistently in GSLs. He tends to knock it very deep, but I'm always welcoming a plot twist, an upset, something of the sort. Kind of want to echo what you were saying earlier with Hero and Bunny. Isn't that funny that we're going to have these two guys facing off right away here on day 2 of the Super Tournament? This is best of 5s all the way through the round of 16 here. And when you lose, you're out. It's a very different format from GSL Codes. This is sort of harkening back to a lot of the more traditional RTS tournament formats where it is just kind of a very brutal bracket where you at least have enough games inside of a match to overcome that instead of having to play a variety of different players in a group.
Yeah, single elimination bracket. You either win or you are out.
Yep.
And it is a little bit more reminiscent of, GSL in that there is time to prepare.
Right.
I mean, we're playing here day 1, 4 matches on Monday. On Thursday, we have another 4 matches on the other side of the bracket. So there's a week after this before we go into next week where these guys can devise new builds, new strategies to get ready. But as you said, it's very unforgiving. This is not going to be a group format where, you lose, you have a chance of coming back if you win the next 2 series. Everything is on the line every single series.
By the way, guys, this tournament is taking place in the normal studio where we hold the GSL Codes over at Samsung Station in the Freak Up studio. If you're watching this and it's like a VOD and you're thinking, oh, that's right, Super Tournament's on, I want to come down on one of the other days, remember that this starts an hour and a half earlier than a normal GSL time. So that's 5 p.m. KST, Korean Standard Time. But come down. We already have an audience here in the studio. Very excited to have you guys down here now. And yeah, come enjoy the last StarCraft event that Africa TV is going to be hosting for this year until we go on into 2023.
Man, that is a shiny trophy.
Yeah, can we get a shinier trophy, please?
Almost looks like one of those like James Webb Telescope pictures you see, like the stars with like the refraction.
Yeah, we have to cast this. Look at this with sunglasses on right now. Very shiny trophy.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
And I don't know, man. I'm excited to get into this, and it looks like we're about to do just that. Map 1 is going to be on Moondance here in this best of 5. Maru versus Classic. Maru, the clear favorite, perhaps the best player in the region, and on some given days, even the entire world. Going up against Classic, who's returned here from his military service, but is trying to find the kind of place in StarCraft 2 that he had before he had to take that break. And our game is now lit up, so let's get into this best of 5. Maru versus Classic in the GSL Super Tournament. Super Tournament starts now. Let's go.
Terran, Maru. Protoss, Classic.
So, although we've got Maru as the, I think the obvious favorite, I do want to point out, I think if Classic can play pretty well, we should have a pretty interesting series. I think even if Classic does play very well, I'd be surprised if he won in a best of 5 especially.
Yeah, Maru is one of the best players in the world on any given day, and as of late, he's been playing out of his mind, of course, fresh off G5L championship, his 5th GSL win, and
making history, man. I mean, it's crazy to me.
I mean,
we had that trophy here for like a couple years.
Yeah.
And we had to dust it off and bring it back out, and then he wouldn't quite make it. We have to bring it back down into storage, but he's finally done it. And maybe we will have another trophy we have to get made.
G6L.
I think we take the G and we turn it upside down, or the 6.
6SL.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Maru versus Classic, if you look at this on paper like 3 years ago, this is a headliner matchup. But
yeah.
It's always kind of a mixed bag for these players that are coming out of military service and trying to get back into the swing of things, because in StarCraft 2, and I love that you talked about this in the early days of StarCraft, where, you know, people like MVP, when they rack up championships, like that was an absolute era of dominance that we saw out of MVP. You know, it felt like every single season he had a shot of winning it, and very often he did. But back then, the overall skill level was a lot lower than it is now. I mean, even though StarCraft 2, we're not getting a lot of new patches, it feels like every single year, every single tournament, everyone just gets a little bit better.
Right.
So for Maru to come now and get his 5th GSL trophy 3 years after he got his 4th, and to continue to be at the top of his game is just so baffling to me. I mean, the amount of dedication to practice, the amount of perseverance, and I mean, just continuing to strive and improve.
And you know what else? Just reinventing the way that he approaches the game overall, I think, is one of my biggest takeaways. And a lot of times when Terrans have had tough times in the game in general, he's been the guy that's kind of figured out a way to, kind of come out on top or reinvent the race or approach it in a totally different way. Now this game, we have some pressure coming out here from these Stalkers. This is 2 gates. Now the Reaper can't actually get in here. There's no way to fit in based off where the Wallen is, but this is 2 gates with Stalkers being chrono boosted out and being slow dripped across the map.
Yeah, bit of an aggressive opening over here for Classic, and those 2 Stalkers, they get a lot of damage over here on this depot. SCVs are pulled, but the Stalkers will be able to take them out here in 4 shots, so 2 workers already going down as Classic opting for a little bit of aggression here to start things off and already getting some damage done. I mean, Maru, not only is he forced to have the CC on the high ground, but he has to wait until that Cyclone gets out to actually stabilize here, and that's a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a funny approach that Classic has. It's very straightforward. Just kind of run up, and if you're not being honest, if you're cutting corners, you can put the pressure on. And he's not going to be able to land the command center for a little bit. Obviously, the Cyclone is the tool that kind of cracks open this position for Protoss. So Protoss doesn't want to overextend there. They need to be able to flee back far enough to get that lock-on turn back off. But here, it's actually going to come down and do that right now. Oh, nice. That was literally perfect by Classic.
That Classic barely skirting out of vision of that Cyclone, so Maru loses the lock-on. And, man, I love this opening out from Classic so far, just mixing things up just a bit, going for that 2-gate pressure. And look at the worker differential right now, 36 to 26, a 10-worker lead. Maru's still only on 1 base saturation. Of course, he does have 2 mules on that mineral patch, but that main base is also going to mine out faster than if he had the natural expansion. And now the Banshee's coming out. Cloak is on the way, but Classic already has a Robo.
Oh,
yeah, a little bit of...
That was sick. Okay, yeah, that didn't even occur to me he could do that. Yeah, so he pops himself over the pylon in here. This is going to be one of the funnier chases with sentries trying to hunt down a Reaper. It is picked off. He does get to scout. He doesn't confirm that there's a 3rd Nexus coming, but when you don't see very much infrastructure there, at least in the main, it can hint to that. This map is structured so that the 3rd base, you could take your 3rd base in the very, very back, which is a lot easier of a spot to try to get than having some place that's out on the map. So I think, that's part of Classic's approach to this map here. Did he get an observer?
I think he has one going across the map, if I'm not mistaken, and now having to chrono boost an observer over here in the natural expansion, so Maru already able to pick up 4 probe kills. And Classic losing a little bit of mining time here as well as he's going to try and scramble away. Maru did wait until the last moment to cloak this Banshee, so it will be able to skirt out. The Stalker's not able to get the kill, and here we go. Maru now pushing across the map.
This part's going to be pretty important here, because if this push can work, Maru might win the game, but if it gets shut down, I mean, with 3 Nexuses finished for Classic, he's going to have a real engine to produce behind here. And this is such kind of a funny moment here, because losing this pylon would be massive. I think the Stalkers could basically perfectly cover it, but had that been taken out, 2 production facilities shut down. However, those 2 Stalkers covering that I wonder if we should have poked that with the tanks and the Marines from, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
from the low ground.
I was just thinking the same thing because the cybernetics core is there too. But said Maru going to siege up here at the natural expansion. Nice force fields coming out of Classic. Will isolate the Cyclone. There's no medevac here to be found yet. So a lot of Marines and that Cyclone both going down. But this Robo is placed precariously in the front, already at half HP. The shields are gone.
I mean, I feel like there might just be enough Stalkers to make this work, but it's a little bit tricky to call.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, Maru, he only has a handful of units here, but it's 3 Banshees and 2 Siege Tanks.
Oh my God.
That's a lot of firepower. That Colossus.
It's going to get out, I think, barely.
Yeah, barely
going to pop.
But
Okay,
only
there's
3
3
Stalkers.
Stalkers.
I think Classic's in trouble here right now. Only 3 Stalkers, 2 more are warped in, but with 3 tanks here in the front and 3 Banshees, this is going to be a tough position to hold. Probes are getting pulled. That Colossus is already taken down. The Stalkers are falling, and it feels like Maru with this push is going to be able to take game number 1.
Wow, okay. He just knew that perfectly.
Wow.
Quite the game to start things off. So it was kind of like what we were talking about a couple minutes ago. Basically, you know, if Classic could pull this caper off where he gets that 3rd base up and just holds the push, Maru would probably lose in a long game. And I actually thought for a little bit there might have been enough Stalkers, just barely, for Classic, but it seems like basically Maru kept every Banshee alive through most of the fight and every tank alive through most of the fight. And even though there was a small number of Marines, you know, Stalkers, they don't kill. If there's several units out, the Stalkers, and they're all hitting different things, which they were in a lot of those fights, they tend to not fare that well. So, really good game there from Maru, but I do like Classic's opener. He's clearly coming here very prepared.
Yeah, the opener was really fun there from Classic, and it felt like if he was able to stabilize and just hold off that push, he would have been in a great spot. He had a 10-worker lead for a long time. Maru was bottled up in his main base for minutes longer than he wanted to be, and just a very strong push there from Maru with a lot more Banshees than we typically get to see.
Yeah, a lot of Banshees with Cloak, but ultimately they were not really used to harass as much as they were used to just reinforce the push overall. And we're going to go now to Cosmic Sapphire here for map number 2 as Maru versus Classic continues on.
Terran, Maru. Protoss, Classic.
You know, I kind of want to go back to that push that Maru did there in the previous game, because oftentimes when we see Banshees, we usually only see like 1 or 2 of them, and their sole purpose is to harass.
Right.
But it is so scary as a Protoss player when you're getting pushed that early from a Terran that has a high number of Siege Tanks and a high number of Banshees, and Maru fighting God Gamer. Thank you guys for coming down to the studio.
I think it said Omen. I don't know. Omen doesn't sound like a person's name.
Owen?
Owen, maybe?
I think so. It's Omen with an upside down M.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was a really cool technical push there from Maru. I mean, oftentimes it's not what we see. Banshees in that high numbers there, and you know, they're kind of very fragile, right? But the Siege Tanks in that high count were able to kind of shoo the Stalkers away, where the Banshees just get full damage in, and they're safe. Because anytime that Classic would come to the front there with the Stalkers, Maru just clicks the Siege Tanks onto the Stalkers, and they do huge damage. So the Banshees survive that entire time, and Banshee DPS is really, really high. I mean, it's like a Liberator.
And you know what else? Like, I mean, a lot of times for the Protoss player, it's hard to target anything in a fight like that because, you know, the tank has such a better range and you can kind of position well. But the Banshees are able to soak a little bit of extra damage, and if that even gets 1 or 2 extra Siege Tank shots off, it probably is going to be game.
Yeah. It's a very powerful push there from Maru. We'll see what he has in store for us here in game number 2. Is Classic this time not opting for a 2-gate opening, just a 1-gate expand. Maru here with the Reaper going into the reactor and factory, so about as standard as it gets here so far.
Yeah, this game a little bit more ordinary, at least so far. I mean, we've got a lot more room for it to develop. We do have a... yeah, there we go. Okay, he was going to make a command center down there. And let's see what, you know, Classic wants to do. I like the idea of what he did there, and I think if it wasn't against somebody like Maru, he might have been able to pull it off. It did seem to be tailored to that map specifically, and it looked like the early part of Classic's build actually worked, like the way he needed it to, with having the Stalkers come in there and basically contain the Terran. and kind of force the Terran to stay back. But I do wonder if the mistake was actually the third Nexus.
Maybe.
I wonder if that should have been like 2 more gateways instead.
Yeah, it's tough to call because, you know, Terran has such a wide breadth of openings, and when you go 2 gates like that, you're delaying your tech a little bit as the Protoss, right? So, Classic, he wanted to opt for that third base, and if there wasn't a push that came out and killed him, he would have been in a fantastic spot, but he just kind of got greed checked a little bit there by Maru, and, you know, Maru is one of those players that if he goes for a build with the kind of power spike that we see in a push like that with Banshees and Siege Tanks, he's going to try and find maximum value from it, and I mean, when he sacrificed that Reaper, you know, he used the grenade to get into the main base. He had a pretty good idea of what was going on, even though he didn't get a full scout off. I think he saw that situation. He's like, okay, you know, there isn't like a really fast blink. There isn't any crazy tech I need to worry about. I can just come in here, set up right in front of the natural, and as long as I don't give Protoss time, I will be able to run them over. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why he didn't go for that pylon or the cybernetics core is because he recognized that I just don't want to give Protoss any breathing room.
Yeah, it was more about time and less about like these sequential punishes. That's funny that we both had the same idea, like, oh, the core's there or the pylon's there, like at that.
That's why we're casting.
Yeah, that's why we're casting. But yeah, I think that it was a moment that we've seen from Maru so many times where Maru knows, like, he's okay getting behind and then actually recovering with a push because he sees the economic imbalance and everything there and knows how to kind of leverage it.
Yeah, Widowmine drop now coming in. First Widowmine in the main base doesn't get too much done as the Observer's already out, and Classic was nice with nice defense there on the natural expansion, able to take out that Widowmine as well. So really clean defense.
That's insane that he pulled that off.
Yeah, that Maru Widowmine.
That's wild.
Gets out by the skin of its teeth, but that was a really fantastic defense. Classic didn't lose a thing except for a little bit of mining time, but that's a huge win there for Protoss.
You really can't ask for better than that, right? I mean, he did a pretty good job. And nicely done. Gets the Observer. This is always annoying for the Protoss because a lot of the important units you're trying to make at this phase of the game, if you're on Robotech, like every Robo unit needs to be alive, or you're just sort of missing a piece of the puzzle. And to lose the Observer actually is, you know, it seems so I guess anticlimactic, but really it is actually a huge impact on the Protoss. You don't know what's happening now. Are they going to push you? Or are they going to drop you? If you keep the Observer out and watch for pushes, then you just play drop defense and you're okay. But when you lose something like that, you just don't have any real idea as to what's going on their side of the map.
Yeah, and beyond that, you can't really replace the Observer either because at this stage in the game where Protoss is taking the third base, they need full production out of that Robo and fighting units. Otherwise, they're at risk of dying from any Terran push that comes out, right? So it's a tough spot. Oftentimes, you know, when you go for Robo this early, you're not really just paying in resources for the Observers and the other units, but you're paying in the time on the Robo, so any kind of loss there really sets you back in your defense. And we'll see what Classic is going to go for here. You know, he's got a lot of time after deflecting that first Widowmine push because Maru, I think he was hedging a little bit on getting, you know, at least a little bit of damage done against the Protoss, and now it's been at least a couple of minutes where Classic has just been kind of free to macro up, and yeah, he did lose that Observer, but he does have a good idea, even catching this follow-up Widowmine drop is a nice play for him, but, you know, Maru just kind of playing a little bit slower tempo here, taking that third base, so not going to be the kind of two-base push we saw from him in the last game.
Yeah, I actually am excited to get into a game like this for these two because we're getting into a longer one. By the way, there is a push coming here. I don't think that this push can actually end the game, though. It doesn't seem like there's even a good angle that he can try to come push in here. But again, it is Maru, so let's see what he does.
Yeah, a couple force fields here. Will buy a bit of time, forcing Maru to Siege to actually get past this junction on the map. As Classic's army is quite small here. Maru now coming forward, some Marines going for a stim, and Disruptor does get shut down there by the Raven. So going a little bit tit for tat there as both players using a bit of energy. Classic with the sentries and Maru there with the Raven. So we'll see what Maru decides to do with this now, and he's going to be going for the cybernetics core.
Yeah, he's doing what we recommended in the last game. A push is coming down here. This isn't enough, right?
I don't think so.
I feel like he's going to just have Colossus fighting tanks.
Yeah, like there's like no game. Oh my god.
There's like a box art fight happening here. The Colossi know to run on top of the tanks.
Oh my god.
Wait, what?
That was, I haven't seen a fight.
He had to run from the auto turret. That's what happened. Okay.
I haven't seen a fight quite like that. Like, there's nothing guarding the siege. It's only siege tanks.
You don't ever see the Colossus actually charge the tank.
Well, it was a smart move. Like, they have a minimum range, right? They can't shoot, so they have to unsiege.
It's just so funny to see. The Colossus is shooting in between its legs.
What a wonky little battle, and Classic will eventually deflect Maru here, but I mean, both players kind of trading out a lot of key units. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Maru lost the Raven and a good number of siege tanks there, lost some Widow Mines as well, so both players' armies kind of getting reset just a little bit here.
Classic's going to reach deep into the bottom left and take a gold base. I like this game for Classic. I think especially with that attack from Maru, it was closer than I thought. It was kind of funny to see the way that that ended. But, you know, taking out 2 Colossi as well, that's a pretty big victory there. Again, the Robo units, they're going to come out a little bit slower. There's only, as far as I know, 1 Robo in this game as well here.
Oh, Widow Mine drop goes undetected.
Okay, could have killed some more.
Could have.
But, you know, that's a pretty big win there to just get some workers like that.
Classic does snip out this push coming on the north side yet again. Only 1 sentry with maybe 1 force field, 1 Guardian Shield in its disposal, but Maru, as we talked about earlier, his siege tank count's a little bit less than it would be normally in this game because these players traded early, so kind of tough for him to breach this position over here as Classic now comfortably taking that 4th base. And man, I'm really liking what we're seeing out of Classic here in game number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, Classic looking strong. His gold base spot has been located, and there is a push coming down here. I see 2 tanks and 2 Colossi. This is a lot of Marauders.
Yeah, no shield battery either, so
yeah,
a little bit of a scary position here. 2 Disruptors now enter the fray.
Well, the Disruptors could be very strong against the Marauders. Marauders are going to have a tougher time kind of avoiding that, especially with the clumpiness of the StarCraft 2 engine.
Yeah, Zealots now warping in, and Classic says that's go time as the first Disruptor shot gets a siege tank. Second siege tank gets cleaned up as well, and man, Classic with a great fight here so far, but the frontline Zealots,
great control.
Yeah, they get taken out, but the reinforcements come in, and man, Classic doing a great job.
Well, that mine hit connects, and the reinforcements spill down here. The Bruise Stalkers will back up. You know, until an observer gets here, these Widow Mines can just reset, and this is a crazy move here. He's just going to pick up and swing north. He's going to go into the main. He's got more reinforcements. He wants to try to draw the less mobile units like the Disruptors or the Colossi back to the main, probably with a recall, right? And then he's going to try to wedge open the gold base down here in the bottom.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head as that medevac drop now going off to the north side as Maru postures near the gold base expansion. And 2 Disruptors and a Colossus, that's a lot of commitment going over there to the top, and as a result, there's not going to be much AoE damage over here on the south side for Classic as the Cybernetics core now goes down. Classic will rebuild that in a safer position. Finally deflecting this push over here on the top side, but behind all this, Maru wasn't really able to get enough forces on the bottom to really contest the gold base.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's going to be really soaking up a lot of gold minerals over there. You know, you just need to have the gold base for a couple of minutes to start to feel the effects and the benefits of it. Maru expands towards the gold base by taking 6 o'clock and is continuing to pile on into this spot. Vikings are available here as well to try to further shove the Colossi back. Really good angle here, honestly, for Classic.
yeah, and I'm liking Classic's army too. There's a lot of AoE damage. 4 Disruptors, an Archon, Immortal, 2 Colossi. This is an army with a lot of finesse, and Maru just now adding the Ghosts and Liberators. I like this as well. It's going to add a lot more oomph over here to this push. We'll be able to slow push it just a little bit as here we go. Engagement coming off again. Maru will pull back into the safety of the Liberator range.
So right now, Terran's just out of range of being able to damage the Nexus. He's going to go ahead and dodge these Disruptor shots. There's almost enough Disruptor shots that he could just continue to cycle through shot after shot. Nice targeting again! Oh. And a little bit of a scratch there on the edge of the army, but he snipes down another Disruptor. Maru doing a great job of basically keeping the distance here.
Yeah, this can go either way right now, but I'm liking Classic's army. It is getting really big here. Oftentimes when we see these engagements, it's usually Terran dwarfing the Protoss and army supply just a little bit, but now Classic right up there with Maru, really leveraging this gold base. 102 army supply to 108, and one decisive battle could be game-winning here for Classic if he's able to take it, but Maru continuing to push very slowly here. This is a tough position for Classic to defend.
EMP onto the Immortal and Archons. Sorry, a couple of Immortals here. And snipes one down. Now, I got to say, I feel like the army's a little bit better here for Classic, but is he going to be able to tear through this?
We'll see.
Dude,
Classic charges forward.
The Vikings are winning that fight. They've taken out everything over there. They're going to soak up more damage from the Immortals, while the Marines may end up coming out on top.
And this fight is so close, but I think Maru's getting the better end of this trade as the Zealots get cleaned up, and now Maru with a ton of Ghosts left over, a Liberator as well, as just as you said, those Vikings took down those Colossi, and Classic, his army, just gets decimated there in the final moments. It was a close fight, but Maru just barely getting the better end of that trade.
This is the tipping point, it looks like. The gold base is gone, but the overall supply is so low right now. It's Maru's at 93, 96 army supply to the 30 here of Classic. And all those critical tech units that were built up, like the Colossi, like the Immortals, Disruptors, they're all gone. That's a huge reset button. Where, you know, the way that Terran can produce, Terran's going to kind of continue to have that balance of units. Even at the very end there, just dropping the Vikings once they had no more functionality other than to just soak up a few extra Immortal shots.
Yeah, and Classic is going to need some miracle Disruptor shots if he's going to stay alive in this game. Does get 2 Widow Mines and a Marine with that one.
Yeah, just barely these Disruptor shots are not getting off.
Yeah, and right now Maru's army is just overpowering here. As I mean, how does Classic's army push out into 2 Liberators and 4 Widow Mines? I mean, there's just no shot right now as Maru nearly doubling Classic in supply. The Disruptor shot coming in, but we're in the death wrongs of this game as Maru looking to clean this one up and head to a 2-0 series advantage.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, Maru is just going to continue to find weak location after weak location, and I just don't think there's the numbers here. I mean, even with good Disruptor shots, there's not enough in between.
I mean, Classic could probably get a Disruptor shot in that entire army, and Maru would still win the game, but...
All right, GG. I think a more interesting late game there. I don't know where exactly Classic went wrong, do you?
I think it was that engagement, because looking at the armies on paper, Classic's army supply was very high. He had a lot of really high-tech army units, but just the way that engagement went in, the Zealots charged forward, and they got absolutely destroyed by not only the Bio Ball, but a high number of Widow Mines. And after that front line fell, it was a ton of Marauders, it was Liberators, it was Ghosts, doing massive damage onto Classic's Immortals, onto his Stalkers. Behind this, like, he's in Liberator range, and the Colossi are getting taken down from Vikings. So I think Classic maybe just jumping the gun a little bit. Maybe he felt like he had to breach that position. Otherwise, you know, he's going to get kicked off the gold, and that's not an acceptable situation for him. But, I mean, on paper, if that's like a fight that happens in an open field where Classic is able to come in with an arc and perhaps blink from the side and take down the Liberators with the Stalkers, it's better. But the way his army just clumped up right there in the main fight, it felt like everything went Maru's way.
Yeah, I feel like the writing's on the wall, but I hope I'm wrong. Right now, Maru with a 2-0 lead over Classic. We're going to go to inside and out to see if Classic can recover or if Maru closes this one out.
Terran, Maru. Protoss, Classic.
Protoss Classic. I preferred Cherry Protoss, but...
I was wondering where you were going to go with that one. It is nice of our announcer to let us know what races
we have Protoss 0 here. I'm on a diet.
Protoss 0 is what it looks like when I try to play the ladder these days, man.
Me too, man.
0 brains, 0 mechanics.
From
Hello?
Chicago, welcome. The Artosis grave.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe one day we'll have a little Artosis zombie come out of the ground there. He goes, I want brains, but he can't eat any Protoss brains, so he stays away from us. Like, now, I got to say, man, I don't know what Classic can really do to play better, because he's looking good, by the way.
Yeah, I want to touch on that just a little bit, because Classic is a guy that, I mean, 3 years ago, he was one of the best Protoss players in Korea, if not the world. I mean, there's a reason that he was in GSL finals.
And he had a very sharp style.
Yeah, very aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Classic is the one that like proxy gated me the one time I played in Pro League, and I never got to play again. So yeah, I'm intimately familiar with his very aggressive style. But yeah, just really killer instinct. Like he would go for builds in PBZ or in PBT that would just absolutely destroy somebody. Kind of similar to what we saw him try to do in game number 1 here. And he's had a kind of tough road coming back. Two racks Reaper from Maru, by the way. But he just hasn't found his footing since he came back from military service. And although it's a 2-0 map score in Maru's favor right now, I mean, he's literally up against the best Terran player in the world. And the games are closer than they might seem. Like that last game, I felt like Classic, with a little bit of a different engagement, can continue that game easily and potentially even lead to a win. So I'm liking what we're seeing out of him so far. I mean, it's kind of a tough luck of the draw for Classic to get Maru here in round one of Super Tournament, especially in single elimination. But
Maru just seems so untouchable. And, you know, Hero's really innovated on the race, but it doesn't seem like his style is very easy to emulate. You know, I mean, we almost need some, like, just play like Hero memes for Protoss because it's like what he does is so out there.
It does kind of feel that way sometimes. And Classic going for a 1-gate expansion with a proxy gateway, and Maru going for 2 racks Reaper into an expansion is not the openings that I expected here in game number 3, but it's where we're at, so we'll see. Classic now going up to 3 gateways. Maru will? I think he did see that, but keep in mind he has not spotted the proxies, so he might just think that this is Classic responding to their 2 racks opening from Maru, but there is some danger kind of waiting in the wings here if Classic does decide to commit to 3-gate pressure, and that's why I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable seeing Maru throw down that bunker, the natural expansion.
Yeah. Clearly there's going to be some pressure here, if not, you know, a bust, attempted bust, I should say, here with the gateway. You know, this far out so that he can warp in super fast. You know, it's funny because it feels like this shouldn't be the way that a pro wins a game, but sometimes you can just kill their bunker before they can repair it. And, you know, there's, especially with the pacing of StarCraft 2 games, sometimes you just don't. Your eyes are on the different part of the map, or your mind's in a different place in the game. And so we may just see him run up and shoot down the bunker and then start to pry open the Terran's defenses. Oh, man. Oh, boy.
Reaper spot the pylon and the gateway, so the jig is up, but behind this Classic, he wasn't really fully committing to the pressure, I think. I mean, he has a robo building at home. No Twilight Council just to speak of yet, but that probe already going out to the 3rd expansion. I mean, there isn't too much of a commitment here, right? Like, he's going to lose a pylon, he's going to lose a gateway, but realistically, that's only 250 minerals.
But I'll tell you, that's a lot of value to get with those Reapers.
It is.
Considering that they usually don't get to do that much, maybe just force you to stay back at home. But, you know, not bad there for Maru. I mean, things couldn't be worse to start things off right now for Classic, at least as far as his planning's gone. This should probably push Classic into a more normal-looking game. I don't feel like there's a lot of other opportunities that could present themselves, especially when you know Maru is going to be roaming with Medivacs.
What I'm concerned is that he delayed his tech quite a bit for this, and he does have the Robo and now the Robo Bay going down, but there's no Blink. There isn't even a Twilight Council out yet, so it's going to be a tough situation if the game goes a little bit later, and now Maru coming in with a Widowmine drop yet again. Classic spots this right away, pulls the probes. 1 Widowmine drops in the main base, and now Classic coming to the natural expansion, but no observers here at home just yet, so he's going to sacrifice a probe to get this Widowmine out of the natural, but Maru so good at getting his Widowmines out of danger, will be able to escape, and Classic right now still only mining on 1 base.
It seems like we really are at the point in time where Maru never overextends with the Medivacs and the Widowmines, where a lot of times that was where Protosses would find their way to a victory, is just kind of deflecting and shutting down every Medivac drop, every Widowmine drop that came in.
Yeah, it's tough when players like Maru just go in there with a Widowmine, and even after the drop, like, you might lose this Protoss a probe or 2. You're going to lose some mining time, which is, you know, not the end of the world. But then the Widowmine just gets out, and it survives, along with a Medivac, and then it's in the back of your mind the entire time, right? And I don't know if there's actually a dead air spot there. I don't think there is.
I don't feel like it, but you know, he might just put it down there because he knows he can't get it out. At least make them work to kill it, right?
Right.
We are going to have a push pretty soon here, by the way. I didn't see. Wait, I'm sorry. Was there a 3rd command center?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, looking at the mini-map,
okay, there's not.
No 3rd command center, so Maru now
I decided
pushing
the
out onto the map.
starport was a very small command center. It's a malnourished command center. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be potentially one of the most straightforward interactions you have in a PvT, is the Terrans powered up. Protoss is trying to really take advantage of the new, fresh third base, but Terran is going to come in here and try to take a fight and stop it.
Yeah, and Maru's army is actually so small right now. There's like 25, 26 supply right here for Maru pushing up on the map. And I mean, he does have all this back at home, but one of the advantages a little bit here for Classic is that, yeah, he delayed his tech. He doesn't have Blink, and he's only just now building the Twilight Council, the Forges, but that money had to go somewhere, and instead it went into his army. So he's going to have a little bit more than Protoss usually would when this push comes across the map, and so that might be what he wants to try and defend this.
I wonder where he wants to push, if he wants to go right through the center here, or hit on the far right, or maybe even hit on the left and try to shell that pylon and core and go up into the main. And I guess he's going to show us that now. It's going to be right down into the middle here. Now, one risk here is that you can get surrounded pretty easily from different sides, but he is close enough that he can kind of threaten that Robo. He takes out the Sentry. Sentry a bit misplaced there. Oh, and disabled there on the Colossus.
SCV is getting pulled as well. That second Colossus pops out of the Robo and immediately gets taken out as Classic Army just gets absolutely obliterated here, down to 7 army supply in the blink of an eye.
I mean, this is, I think, already over here. The Colossus is not able to really get in range and hit the units it needs to. GG, Maru takes that in a 3-0 fashion. I guess we shouldn't be too surprised, but I can be pretty damn impressed. I mean, he never fails to wow me with what he's able to do in this matchup. And again, you know, Classic, I think Game 1 and Game 2 were a lot better. I think Game 3, we never got to see his real plans come to fruition with the gateway getting spotted. But look, I mean, Maru, no shame in losing to him. I do want to see how Classic performs in next year's GSLs, because I don't think Maru's a very good test of where he's at.
Exactly.
But Maru, maybe he's going to take the Super Tournament. We're going to see. First, we're going to go to an interview, though. He is now the first player to survive into the round of 8 here of the GSL Super Tournament.
The first day and the first match of the GSL Super Tournament Season 2 starts with a Maru's win over Classic. So Maru, you were merciless today against Classic and you defeated him. How do you feel? You know, I'm really happy to have won a clean victory. I mean, Maru, you've always shown strengths against Classic, and then today you're going for the Banshee, and then 2 barracks, double barracks play. And were you certain that you can win with these strategies? You know, in my opinion, they were good builds to play against Classic. So I think they're pretty effective. In Season 3, you were trying to win the G5L for multiple years, then you were able to eventually get it last season. And then you accomplished your dream. And then your form is looking extraordinary right now. Doing so well in DreamHack and doing so well in GSL. I mean, I should have won DreamHack Atlanta, but I lost. I'm a little disappointed in that. I'll try to win GSL SuperTournament this time. I mean, this is an offline match domestically in a long time, so any words to your fans? No, it feels like it's been quite a long time since I last played on this stage. I'll try to climb higher and try to meet the expectations the fans have of me. All right, once again, congratulations on the win. Thank you.
네, 이렇게 첫 번째 8강 진출자 조성주 선수 만나봤는데요. 다음 경기 16강 2경기 변현우 선수와 박진혁 선수의 경기입니다. 잠시 후에 돌아오겠습니다.
from the first time you called me late. Loved you for your wits and your wicked games. Yeah. Always on my mind, always in my brain. Yeah. With you the summer came and went in a day. And I've been craving you since the first time that I sat by your side. And I've been on my knees thinking time is gonna fix me inside. Oh, no, nothing's gonna make me forget. And I don't think I want to forget anyway, yeah, yeah. No, nothing's gonna make me forget. Yeah, I don't think I want to forget anyway, yeah, yeah. I can feel you near when you're miles away. Yeah, you can make it shine when the whole world rains. Always on my mind, always in my brain. With you the days are long and the nights are late. And I've been craving you since the first time that I sat by your side. Ooh, and I've been on my knees thinking time is gonna fix me inside. No, nothing's gonna make me forget. And I don't think I want to forget anyway, yeah, yeah. No, nothing's gonna make me forget. And I don't think I want to forget anyway, yeah, yeah. No, never, never wanna forget. No, nothing's gonna make me forget. And I don't think I want to forget anyway, yeah, yeah. No, nothing's gonna make me forget. Yeah, I don't think I want to forget anyway, yeah, yeah. I've been coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. I've been coming up hot for a minute.
아침은 라떼, 헐리 점심은 라떼, 헐리 저녁은 라떼, 헐리 풍부하게 달콤하게 라떼 헐리 달달한 충전이 필요할 땐 칸타타 라떼 헐리.
질성사이다 제로. 그래 걱정 빼고 고민 빼고 망설임 빼고 This is zero life. 없어도 되는 건 빼고 살자. 질성사이다 제로.
상큼함 맥스, 칼로리 X, 맛있는 탕 제로. 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로, 탐스 제로. 같이 떠나볼래?
핫섹스 불타는 weather. Okay, Phoenix, let's go. 핫섹스. Open your eyes, open your heart. 핫섹스 넘어가면 another rebel. 밤이 일어나지도 Phoenix 불타 두 배로 난 지치지 않아 무게 올려 보스팅의 맛을 overdrive another rebel. 어제 쓰러져도 다시 높여 데시벨 칼로리 제로 뛰어 피곤한 날 리셋. pop이 심장을 뛰게 해 이러니 bucket list. 핫섹스 날 다시 깨우는 마법같이. 핫섹스 온몸에 그 강의 짜릿함이. 핫섹스 Phoenix 마법같이. 핫섹스 핫섹스
2022 Hot 6 GSL Super Tournament Season 2.
Welcome back, everyone. We just wrapped up a pretty straightforward 3-0. Maru, I mean, he ate Classic for breakfast, man.
Yeah.
That was brutal. Not surprising, but again, another reminder that Maru may very well take this Super Tournament and kind of close out the year 2022 on a high note.
It's definitely a possibility, but I just want to give props to Classic again. I mean,
yeah.
3-0, but Game 1, Game 2, I kind of liked what we saw out of Classic. I think he might be working his way back to getting into the form that he had before he entered military service, and I'm hoping that we see more out of him next year because we all know that he's capable of it.
Yeah, he might need some more time. And again, Maru's been so unbelievably consistent in different eras of the game. It's hard to really weigh where Classic is if he goes up against the guy who is probably going to win the tournament.
Yeah.
This next one could be an interesting one. ByuN versus Armani.
Yeah, this is another kind of mismatch. I think maybe not so much as Maru versus Classic,
Yeah.
but ByuN versus Armani, I mean, no disrespect to Armani, but ByuN just seems to absolutely have his number. I was looking at these guys' like stats head-to-head going up against each other, and they've played maybe 100, 150 games over the course of their career, and ByuN's won like 70 or 80% of them. And on top of that, like, not even just speaking historically, but ByuN this year has been playing really well. I mean, he hasn't had kind of like the top finishes that you usually expect out of him, but every GSL season he's getting top 8 or top 16. I think he also got top 8 or top 16 at TSL 9 if I'm not mistaken. So
he's in very good form.
Yeah, he's been playing very solid. So I'm thinking that this one, more likely than not, is going to be a 3-0 or a 3-1 in ByuN's favor. Maybe Armani will surprise us a little bit. I feel like there's a little bit more of a chance for an upset in this match than Maru versus Classic, but ByuN is just such a killer in TBZ that I have a hard time seeing Armani walking away from this one with a win.
Yeah, ByuN very active, very in your face. He likes to, play kind of a hunter role here in the matchup and engage a lot, and a lot of times just win based off his great control. Armani, yeah, he definitely has a very bad record versus ByuN. Every new tournament, though, is an opportunity to try to change that. Actually, we're going to go into Game 1 right now on Waterfall. ByuN versus Armani, starting now.
Terran, ByuN. Sir, Armani.
This is kind of a nightmare matchup for Armani, though. You're familiar with like that website, Ligalac, that has like all the stats for StarCraft 2 players and that kind of thing, right? So if you go on to Ligalac and you look up Armani's profile, they have these things where it's like rivalry. I think it's rivalries where it's like the players you play the most. It's like nemesis, like the people that like kill you the most.
Yeah.
And something else like that. I can't remember exactly what the names are, but if you go to Armani's page, I'm pretty sure ByuN is like his #1 nemesis. Like,
oh, that's hilarious.
He's lost more to ByuN than anybody else in his career, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, this happens. I mean, I don't know if you've experienced this as a pro. I know I have, where there's like a couple players in my region where like I didn't feel like they were that much better than me, but I couldn't beat them. Like whatever I did, they seemed to just be able to handle it, and then they would lose to people that I could beat.
I didn't have exactly that, because usually the people that like I felt like would beat me all the time were just straight up better than me.
Is that right?
But I think Scarlet, for example, I'm pretty sure I played Scarlet like 20 or 30 times, and I think I won like one map.
Yeah, yeah.
Like she would just destroy me every single time we played. It was so demoralizing.
And every time you play that person again, it's like even more reinforced in your head as you go into it. Like, oh, I'm probably gonna lose this. I'm gonna try to do everything I need to do, and it's not gonna work.
You walk away from every series with like a little bit more imposter syndrome. You're like, I don't belong here. Like, what is going on? Everyone's laughing at me.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, in this case, we're going to see how exactly Armani could fare. By the way, ByuN opening up with 2 racks Reaper. The barracks and the depots are on the low ground, creating a wall in where the second base would be. This allows him to basically, anytime he wants to, well, he's going to expand now, but anytime he wants to, expand and stop making Reapers if he needs to. And he can switch into making Marines behind.
Yeah, I like the setup quite a bit, and I mean, ByuN historically has been the kind of player that is very good, better than his peers at getting value out of really micro-intensive units like the Reaper. I mean, that's kind of like him in a nutshell, right? Like,
right.
if you were to say like what unit is like ByuN,
that was sick. That was actually so sick.
But like, if you're like to say like what unit is ByuN on like the Terran roster, like he's a Reaper. Absolutely. Oh man, he wants that drone so bad.
Oh!
Look at this damage. This is 2 Reapers. Almost getting 2 drones. That's 2 Spore Crawlers that got to get made and then canceled. I mean, this is expensive.
Roach Warren right away here, by the way. This is going to, it's not going to get scouted, by the way. The zoning's pretty good here from Armani. Actually, ByuN may be in trouble here. Reapers like basically can't, oh, he gets 1 drone. Gets 2 drones.
2 drones, Creep Tumor. I mean, yeah, the Roach Warren is kind of lurking in the background here, but he's going up to 4 Raxes as well as ByuN. This is crazy.
This is wild, man. But again, Reapers can't really fight Roaches at all. Like, there are some units where it's like, yeah, you might as well, like, you know, not even consider this as a fight worth taking. So the Roaches are going to be able to burst across the map. The Warren hasn't been spotted yet, but it might be. I think it sees it now, right?
Yeah, he sees the Roaches, and he gets 3 more drones.
Sorry, the Roaches are right there. I'm looking at the Warren like an idiot.
5 drones in total going down, as well as a Creep Tumor, and 1 Reaper still gets out alive. And not only that, but ByuN knows exactly what is on the table here. He knows that Armani is making these Roaches, and he's coming across the map, and ByuN has 4 barracks back at home. He's already been producing Marines. I'm a little bit worried about Stimpack here. That might get denied, but maybe even the Reaper on the high ground just trying to slow him, Armani down every chance he can get.
Yeah, well, right now Armani has to do damage with this because otherwise Terran is just eons ahead. You were right about the stim. That's definitely a desirable target to try to get. I think he will get the... Oh, hold on. He's going to push right down this? Oh, gets the Overlord.
Might.
Oh, I see what he's doing.
ByuN's so smart. All right, SCVs are pulled, but Stimpack does get denied there as the Roaches and Ravagers continue to push up the ramp. But with that bunker up, and 1 Ravager already on half HP, I mean, I'm hard-pressed to find Armani getting too much more damage here. Just, there's a lot of bio already on the field. You feel like, yeah, ByuN's just walking down here. He already cleans up the Roaches and the Lings, and it's just Ravagers really escaping. And that bio ball is quite large now. And with 4 Raxes still up, it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, I mean, the stim deny, that's kind of big, but, you know, concussive shells is also going to finish.
Oh, he even gets 2 Ravagers.
My God.
Yeah, this is a disaster here for Armani. Oh my God, the grenade too. ByuN really wanted.
He could keep going.
Yeah, I think so. But he doesn't know exactly what the game state is, right? And perhaps from ByuN's perspective, I don't want to like kind of go too deep into like the player's mind because I'm not a Terran pro. But if I'm looking at this in a vacuum, I'm thinking, all right, like I know that I just completely shut this down. My opponent, I killed 5 drones. His economy is going to be weak. I'm just going to wait for a couple more cycles of barracks units to come out, and I'm just going to come with an overwhelming force. And seems to be what ByuN's doing now is that's a lot of bio. 4 Marauders with concussive shells, a ton of Marines, and I don't think Armani is very much at all to deal with this.
Yeah, I think he's got almost nothing here.
5 Roaches to 4 Marauders is not what you want.
Now, again, there's no medevacs with this, you know, so it's not going to be, you know, that easy to sustain fights here. But did he drag his feet a little bit too much coming across the map sooner? The thing about this is that the Roaches are so bad off creep when concussive shell gets involved because the range of the Marauders is actually better.
Especially with no Roach speed.
Yeah, and I mean, the reality is that like a corrosive bio, like you can dodge that. That's like probably the easiest thing to do for any player. And so he's just getting so much damage. This hatchery, by the way, is so low. Now, when it finishes, creep's going to come out here, which is going to give a little bit more mobility. But
another Ravager going down, and
damn, 4 Marauders two-shotting Roaches here.
And behind this, ByuN going for a 3rd command center. He's been continuously producing bio units, and yeah, Stimpack almost done. Combat shields mostly underway, and like behind all of this, it's not like ByuN is really sacrificing any eco, right? Like again, 3 command centers and a worker lead against Zerg. He's got to be really happy with this situation. I feel like just any moment now he's going to push across the map with this bio ball, and I don't see any way Armani stops
no,
it.
This should be the easiest kill probably of the whole day. Now, all of this goes back to the fact that Armani really kind of rolled the dice here and tried to come out with those Roaches early on and do damage, and it was shut down. And so here's ByuN now. Again, no medevacs in the mix just yet, but this alone is enough to be a real threat. Gets the hatchery just to ensure that he keeps that advantage, and he's going to probably keep trying to press for an advantage here. as the game goes on.
Yeah, I mean, now it's 3 CC against 2 Hatchery, and ByuN has no need to continue pushing up that ramp.
I stand corrected. You're right. I mean, there's no point. Just stay back, regroup, look for another target, probably that third base again.
And now he's going to have siege tanks and medevacs as well as combat shields. So,
by the way, if you're like laddering, this is a good way. If you start to, if you get a game like this where you killed their base, just go back and expand again and upgrade. Get all the other upgrades that you can think of that you can get. Mass produce, make depots, and wait for their base to finish again.
Yeah, just snowball. It's a great way of playing the game. I mean, like, look, Armani, he rebuilt that hatchery effectively instantly, and it's still only halfway done. So ByuN is going to push across the map before that hatchery gets any additional value. And this army just looks unstoppable. I like the idea there from Armani with the Biles to actually get some good hits. A Marine and some damage there on the Marauders, but this is just so much firepower here in this army. Stims forward, does ByuN, 4 medevacs. And
this should be GG here.
Yeah, there's no splash damage to speak of at all.
He gets there right as the hatchery finishes. Like, literally it finishes. He's like, all right, it's dead. GG. Yeah. Okay. ByuN takes game 1. You know, the early part of that game was a lot more important, than the later part.
Yeah, that game went off the rails, like, from minute 2 or 3, it felt like. I mean, Armani went for one of the most aggressive openings you can do in this matchup, which is the Roach Ravager push. And
I think it was not a bad idea, considering it was Reapers and 2 Raxes at the natural with the depots there. I mean, there's a lot of ideas that, you know, if you can get in there and kill those depots and start to hit the Marines at the production, that can be huge.
Yeah, I mean, he even got the stim pack, right? But the problem was that those 3 Reapers from ByuN got so much damage in. He killed a Creep Timber. He forced 3 Spore Crawlers that had to get canceled, and he killed 5 drones in total, which is beyond what you planned for in like the best case scenario in any practice game, right? I mean, that was almost game winning just from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't know. I mean, there's, you know, you take risks like that early on, and it's hard to ever get into a normal game from that. This best of 5 continues on with game 2 on Data C. Let's do it.
Game start. Terran, ByuN. Zerg, Armani.
Okay, so going into this game, I don't think it should look anything like game 1. That was sort of a pretty wild one with how ByuN opened, and then Armani maybe seeing an opportunity and deciding to go for a quick closer. Although it does seem like Armani, especially when he's not that confident, does try to, instead of playing the defensive, I'm going to get a head game, he likes to try to do the counterbalance, where he really, you know, he sees your weakness and tries to press you for it. And I've seen it backfire for him a couple times in tournament matches we've casted here at GSL.
Yeah, it's definitely one of his strengths is kind of going on the aggressive and getting the advantage that way. But it's just a little bit of a stylistic mismatch against ByuN, who's another player that really likes to kind of play with that aggression and have a lot of units out early.
Yeah, he likes to get in fights. He likes to micro against you. He likes to engage. And so I think that's one of the problems, is that you're going against a guy who usually wins fights that other people don't win.
And I love this planning coming out of ByuN as well. I mean, game number 1, he went 2 racks Reaper opening into 4 racks before Factory. And game number 2, CC first. Just kind of going complete 180 here.
We love this kind of stuff.
In the openings.
It's total greed now after total aggression in game 1.
It's, honestly, it feels like it's one of the builds that just has the highest win rates in like TBZ that at least that we see out here in GSL.
I feel like we didn't get to see it that much last season at the end of the season, which I was kind of surprised by. But yeah, from everything that, you know, my memory tells me, and just looking at the way that you can get an edge with the quick CC, I feel like if it's done correctly, it's so punishing for the Zerg. And it seems like the Zerg would have to react in such a way as almost to like blindly counter CC first.
Exactly.
But that, you know, it seems like no Terran is going CC first more than 50% of the time.
Right, so there's a little bit of a kind of numbers game there going on where it's like, as Zerg, do you really want to gamble and try and throw a wrench in the CC first plan and then walk into like 2 Rex Sweepers?
Because if you try to blindly counter CC first, they just play normal and then you lose that way. And so this seems to, in fact, out of almost all the matchups we cast here at GSL, this seems to be one of the sharpest openings at the start of a game where like Terran just has a lead out of the gate.
Yeah, it definitely does seem that way from my perspective as an observer, but specifically, it's not even like the 2CC and a 3CC build that we see very often. It's like the 2CC and a 2-base all-in strategy that we see come out of Terrans.
I feel like that's the best one.
Yeah,
I don't like quick CC into like a 3rd CC. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I'm very much a fan of, kind of crafting a build that leads to a specific power spike early. Like you try to find some kind of discrepancy where the difference between whatever you're building towards and your opponent building towards, you're going to have kind of a big gap in the power of your armies. And I mean, maybe that's kind of my Protoss brain, because a lot of Protoss, when you're kind of playing, is you're trying to craft a build, or, like what I would do is like steal a build from like Parting or SOS that pikes up. Oh my goodness, hold that thought actually. We have a ton of speedlings coming in, but man, ByuN really quick with the trigger there, pulls the SCVs back to the natural ramp, and 2 SCVs do go down, but Armani not able to find too much damage there. And I was caught a little bit too much brainstorming as suddenly a ton of Lings catch in. That was like a jump scare for me almost.
No, I had the same thing. I was looking at you, and then I looked down, and I just see Lings about to spill up into the ramp. By the way, that totally didn't work.
Yeah, 2 SCVs go down. But, I mean, Armani, he gets a good idea of what composition ByuN is going for, right? And he didn't really lose too much going for that. There's like 15 drones or 11 drones or something popped after that. But going back to my point earlier, I mean, I love these strategies that go to a big power differential. And it kind of seems like that might be where ByuN is angling. There's no 3rd command center going down yet. He's continuing to ramp up his production. He's now adding in medevacs. He's getting that combat shields, even adding in an additional barrack. So, yeah, this is kind of more in line with the strategy. I think it was like GSL Season 2 or Season 3 where you and we casted like, I think it was like 2 or 3 best of 3s where like the Terran did this almost every time and they won.
You mean this year?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there was a period where we just kept seeing it again, and every time we saw it, we kind of were nodding more and more until eventually we were starting to shake our heads with disgust. Like, how do you stop this as Zerg?
Yeah, we'll see what ByuN's able to get done with this, as Armani was able to get a little tiny bit of damage there with the Lings, but army supplies right now, 30 for ByuN to the 39 of Armani, and for ByuN, it's going to be a lot of Stim Marines here to almost pure Zergling here from Armani, as ByuN just going to lift up, essentially going to the main base.
Okay, well, this is going to be deflected pretty easily. Kind of miscontrolled that. You really have to make sure you actually grab all the Marines and get over there pretty quickly. I even saw ByuN shaking his head there for a second.
Was there actually a space in the medevacs, or was it too many Marines?
No, he had 2 empty slots in each medevac and went back. There wasn't enough for every Marine anyways, but...
Can you imagine being that one Marine that just doesn't get in the medevac?
Like, what, guys?
What about me?
Guys?
It's like chasing the bus at the bus stop and it drives away without you. It's like, no!
Yeah.
Terrible feeling.
By the way, the 4th hatch is being made right at about 6 o'clock. The Terran is going to attack out here, but this isn't an all-in. There's a command center that's going to be finishing. It's about halfway done. But this 4th base should be the soft spot. Should be the solar plexus here of the Zerg's position, where if he can hit it right, he might be able to take him out. And this is a stronger push than any other push you normally see with this because of how Terran opened, because Terran went for command center right away and therefore mined more minerals. And with those minerals, got a bigger army. And I don't think that this could be protected. I think it... Oh, my God. I thought he wasn't going to cancel it in time. The Lings couldn't even get around in time. Now, he kills off the tank, but I think the infantry army is still strong enough. Oh, my God. Yeah, okay. He's going to get another cancel on that.
Yep. Marines continuing to kite away, getting a lot of value over here with these. Just going to pick up and go on out. And, yeah,
perfect.
ByuN, he trades out those 2 siege tanks, but he gets 2 hatchery cancels. He kind of resets the army there for the Zerg. And
by the way, the one way that Zerg will try to fight this is to try to intercept the reinforcements as they come. And so what ByuN's done here is he parked everything back in his natural until he's ready to send them out.
Oh, he got a kill!
What is going to get away?
Even the medevac gets away.
That's impossible.
6 HP. That's a fantastic move there for ByuN. And one of the reasons why this worked is, yeah, I mean, it's not a 2-base all-in as we've seen before in the past. There is a third command center now going to take the third base here for ByuN, but ByuN did delay his engineering base, so he had a little bit more infantry. He added that extra barracks.
Right.
Had a little bit more infantry than Terran typically would in that kind of push. And Armani, even with that great Zergling surround and the bios on both siege tanks, he was able to clean those up, but not able to get the third or fourth base up. Excuse me. And ByuN now in a fantastic position, 125 supply to 129, and I'm really liking this opening here for him so far.
I feel like ByuN is about halfway to winning this. That is like, again, the most textbook way to just kind of get that lead that you wanted, is to get that fourth base. And he got it actually a couple times, and even got a kill on it once. Now this does make harass like this kind of hard because there's not that many positions that not that many openings, I guess you could say, you can find when the Zerg's just defending on 3 bases and slowly remaking that fourth. We do have a Hydra Den being teched into here. Armor and range attack are being upgraded, which surprises me.
And
Infestors are being made. So I think he's trying to concoct an army that might be able to swing a fight.
Yeah.
In the game. It's not, it's, I guess you'd say with air quotes, proper tech. But what he's trying to do is basically engineer something that might be able to take a fight and swing the game into his favor if ByuN kind of blindly overextends. But things are already picking up. I mean, the tanks are already sieged. 4 of them, by the way. He's about a screenshot away from being in range. He's going to continue to move these tanks forward now.
ByuN doing a good job of cleaning up the creep as well, as he wants to continue to contest this fourth base. And the Infestors are out, but I don't think they have enough energy for Fungal yet. And, oh man, the Queen's going down to the third hatchery as well there for Armani. Every single one just floating up into oblivion there, as Armani now going to try and focus here on the right side flank. But, I mean, 4 siege tanks plus all of these Marines, it's tough. And those Infestors now finally have enough energy.
Yeah, you know, the problem is that he's losing at the fight that we're not watching here.
Yeah.
As much as the Zerg's barely holding on to the other one, we're kind of seeing Zerg tear at the seams here. I think the Ravagers can take out the rest of the tanks, no problem.
But the cost is so high here for Armani. I mean, the worker counts are even. ByuN is setting up his 4th command center.
You know what, though? I mean, he didn't really kill any hatches. Wasn't that many drones killed either.
He didn't, but ByuN has a worker count leaded right now. And the Queen count got completely reset there, as well as, I mean, Armani, like, he's teched into Infestors, and I think he only has 2 of them, and he just used 1, maybe 2 biles, or Fungals, excuse me. So I'm really worried about this follow-up push here from ByuN. I mean, he's already ballooning up to 90 army supply, and Armani, he has like 20+ roaches. His army is mostly Roach Ravager, and his army supply is almost less than the Terran, which is never what you want to see.
Yeah, this is pretty rough. Zerg kind of stuck with a lot of these Roach Ravagers now for the time being. 4th base, I mean, it's not going to be bothered for a while now. Zerg's going to try to take a 5th. This is a very far away location from the rest of the creep.
Yeah,
so this is a very unattractive spot to try to fight from.
I'm just hard-pressed to find any way that Armani wins this next engagement. I mean, this isn't even ByuN's whole army. He's setting up another 2-prong attack here on the north side, as Armani does intercept that with those roaches, and now a ton of queens actually here in the main base. Man, he reproduced a lot of those queens. ByuN now dropping into the third base, going to try and focus down the hatchery. Roaches coming in. Hatchery getting really low HP. Oh my god, he's going to get it!
No transfuse is available. He picks that off. Meanwhile, another fight over here. A quick dodge there on the biles. 1 tank remains in the back. I think ByuN needs to dial it back a little bit here.
Armani back down to 3 mining bases, as ByuN now continuing to pressure over here at the 4th base, which is now the 3rd base here for Armani, as there's Hydralisks and 1 Viper assisting these Ravagers, and ByuN back at home just continues to macro up as we see him balloon all the way up to 90 army supply, and yeah, he will be able to get those siege tanks, but once again, I mean, the macro from ByuN is so powerful right now, and Armani really needs to get some counter damage in, so here we go. Coming in with the Roaches on the 4th base. I love this counter pressure, but I'm worried, man. If these Roaches go down...
Oh, my God. And there's no escape for them, really. It's going to be cleaned up very easily. And, you know, there's not a lot that Armani can afford to give up unless it's a really efficient trade on his side. And I think we are going to see this next push come out here and probably trample Armani.
Yeah, I mean, unless Armani's able to work some magic here with these Lurkers, I feel like he's kind of on his last legs. I mean, he's been on 3-base economy for the longest time now, just finally resetting up that new hatchery. But ByuN's army is just so powerful. I mean, this is a max Terran army coming into a push, a Zerg that is effectively on a 3-base economy. And the Zerg not even maxed right now with Lurkers, which are really hard pressed to defend multiple locations. We once again see, I mean, ByuN coming over here on the 4th base, just continuing to derail the economy of the Zerg. We'll see what Armani's able to make happen here, trying to defend. But this Bio army is just so strong.
Yeah, another hatchery falls. It just seems like, you know, the walls are so badly closing in, man. This is so brutal. Hatchery goes down, and I mean, you know, he's getting squeezed from every side. The Vipers go down. We should see GG, as there's just no way to recover from this. And now he's going to stutter step forward through the army, taking this out.
ByuN lost so much to those 2 Lurkers. It's actually insane.
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
I mean, that might prolong this game a little bit, but the fact of the matter is that Armani's economy is just kind of in the dumpster right now. I mean, he just loses hatchery after hatchery after hatchery, and ByuN did throw away a good bit of bio. I think he wasn't really expecting those Lurkers to be there. He is going to have to lift off his 4th command center. And
yeah, the Lurkers did catch him off guard. You've got that right, causing him to overextend a little bit.
But again, I mean, Armani is still just on a 3-base economy. He's bleeding drones, and that might have bought him a little bit of time, but now losing these Lurkers, it feels like, as you said, the walls just continue to close in.
This is so brutal, man. Yeah, we saw him just bum rush the Lurkers there, too. It's not often you can see a Lurker try to get away from a Marauder with a concussive shell and just see how fruitless that endeavor is.
In a way, I mean, Armani kind of catching a little bit of momentum there with the Lurkers turns around to feel kind of bad, because it's kind of like you get a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, where like you clean up the Terran army, but instead like you're just gonna die a slower death.
It's brutal.
It's a hard position to be in here for Armani. I mean, he's trying everything he can with these Ling and Roach counterattacks to get some damage done, but the economy for ByuN just continues to roll on as this army just continues to get better and better, and now 8 Ghosts entering the composition here for ByuN. I'm not sure if Armani has any answer for this.
Yeah, well, Lurkers, you know, it's hard for them to combat Ghosts, right? The tanks are going to be pulled forward, so that's part of the equation. You can see the snipes coming down here now. Transfuses to counterbalance that.
Oh, this hatchery.
This has been a crazy game of whack-a-mole here.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Yeah, we're just seeing so much go down over and over again. And then Zerg somehow lives through it, only to then be in the exact same position as before.
Well, ByuN finally cleaning up that army as he mops up.
Over and over again, it was like the myth of Sisyphus, only eventually the boulder just ran him over by the final time he pushed up the mountain.
Yeah, that's a tough loss there for Armani. I mean,
that was a grindy loss too.
Yeah, those ones feel really bad to play. I mean, it's kind of like a mental, like you're just getting chipped away mentally in those kind of matches, right? I mean, Armani, he's been in the booth dozens, if not hundreds of times, so his nerves are kind of steeled for this, but still, it doesn't feel great.
This is Solar back here with his pajama pants on for some reason.
Hey, get comfortable, right?
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
But ByuN right now, just in a commanding fashion. I love the build order plan that we've seen out of him there in game number 1, the 2 racks Reaper into 4 racks. Game number 2, going for the CC first, delaying the engineering bays, getting a ton of damage in with the extra bio.
He's playing the series very well. Stargazers is going to be map 3. I think one of our players, imaginably, probably Armani's requested a break, but we'll be getting into that in a second here. Yeah, I think ByuN showing how to handle a series very well. Super aggressive play against a player he's beaten so many times before with a victory there into CC first. Right. This is a great way to kind of ebb and flow through a series where Armani is never able to get into a game early on that he wants to play, and then ByuN just navigates it from there.
Yeah, and it feels like in both games, ByuN just took an advantage early and never gave it up. I mean, the only real blunder that he made was kind of rolling in on those Lurkers that were burrowed, which perhaps he didn't see, and losing his bio.
I think he didn't even realize the tech was going to be a threat at that moment. I think he came through and suddenly his whole ground army blew up. But
I mean, at that point, it didn't even matter, right? Like, ByuN can throw away that army, and his economy is so powerful back at home. I think, like, the 4th hatchery position there for the Zerg, it got canceled twice. ByuN got a kill as it was building once. And I think it went down like maybe 2 more times. I don't know how many games we've had where we've seen a hatchery get not only canceled, but also killed like 5 or 6 times in the course of like 15 minutes. It's just absolutely insane. ByuN on another level as we're getting ready to go into set number 3 on Stargazers. ByuN up 2-0 in this series. Will he be able to close it out? Let's find out.
Game start. Terran, ByuN.
Forgot our joke. This is a map about us. Stargazers, man.
Stargazers.
The Star Talkers, man.
Zerg, Armani.
I just noticed this nice little silhouette that happens when we go over this. Like, it even has like little hooks for the top of the hatchery.
Yeah, it's
there.
like, you know, for Thanksgiving, if you put your hand on a piece of paper and you
outline it to make the turkey.
Yeah, you can make a turkey with your hand. Well, they just did that with the hatchery. They just they put a cup of Jello on the table and drew a circle around it, and now you've got the starting building for each race.
There's a bunch of Europeans watching this. Like, what are these Americans going on about right now?
Yeah, that was a very
Making
culturally
turkeys-
specific joke.
turkeys
You
with
guys
their
know
hands.
when you draw a turkey with your hands, and there's just tons of people in Sweden staring blankly at the screen right now as we talk about this. So, I mean, I think ByuN has illustrated very clearly why he always wins against Armani. Not always, but almost always wins against Armani. Armani does not seem to have an easy time against him. And, you know, game 2, that was a real beatdown game. That was him getting the classic Terran versus Zerg advantage of I've stopped or killed your 4th base. And then he just plays the game out. And Armani actually fought back pretty well. It was kind of remarkable that he kind of sort of grew for periods of the game from there. But basically, ByuN just hammered him so hard for so long, eventually you fizzle out.
Yeah, a lesser Zerg would have been cleaned up.
I think so.
Many minutes earlier than Armani was. I mean, he really fought tooth and nail to kind of try and claw his way back into that game. But yeah, ByuN just continues to have his number. I mean, over the course of their careers, it's, as we said, kind of a stylistic mismatch where ByuN kind of just wins fights that most other Terran players kind of don't win. He's really good, especially in those early game engagements. And Armani's a Zerg that likes to be aggressive.
Yeah.
So ByuN just kind of continuing to have his number. I think this year now it might be like 19-4 map score in the favor of ByuN.
Is that right?
Which is just, it's kind of brutal, you know? I mean, that's a tough draw there for Armani here in this bracket as ByuN now coming in with the Reaper, going to try and find some more damage. Now, this isn't the 2-Rax Reaper that we saw in game number 1. Just one, but ByuN is so good at just getting every kind of damage in. I mean, 2 Zerglings already is kind of crazy. I mean,
yeah, you know, it's a kind of an ongoing joke here at GSL that, you know, we talk about how this is the best part of StarCraft is the Reaper harassing the Zerg when really it's the worst because almost nothing ever comes from it. But the truth is when ByuN plays, he actually does good damage and things happen with it.
Ooh, 3CC coming out of ByuN really quick here. Huh.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool way to try to close this out. Now, I would say on this map, this is generally ill-advised because this feels like, although this map does sort of hand you a 3rd base, it also hands your opponent a lot of ways to punish it. It's very droppable. It's very scoutable. But, you know, ByuN, I feel like he's got to be glowing with confidence at this point in time. And I don't think this is a build he would do against anybody on this map other than Armani.
Absolutely, and also kind of mixing it up yet again here with his openings. So we saw those the 2-Rax and a 4-Rax in game 1, the CC first in game 2, and now here in game 3 going 1-Rax into 3CC with a factory. And I mean, it's a great build order selection for Stargazers as well, as you know, he might have that 3rd command center in his main base for quite a while if Armani decides to try and apply some pressure.
It should be pointed out that a lot of times when we have the hold on a second. There's a oh no, I'm sorry, yeah, 3rd command center. I actually tripped myself up for a second. I thought for some reason when I was looking at the screen that he had already taken his natural base down there.
No.
So in my head, sorry everybody, I decided that there was actually a CC at each of the expansion spots, which I thought was pretty risky. So this is actually a lot like what we've seen Innovation do in the past.
Yeah, it's very safe. I mean, if you're Armani, like, you can't really, against Terran, who's like, you know, Terran, like, they kind of specialize in range units, right? Like, how is Zerg really going to mine out those minerals in the back? Like, it's not going to happen. So
No, it's very safe. I thought if you had decided to land the CC at the 2nd base, I thought, okay, now you got 2 points, you got to defend.
Right.
This could be tricky. So this is actually just a very textbook, kind of normal way to play the game. If you're, you know, a good Terran player, this is a build you've rehearsed so many times over and over on ladder.
Yeah, if Zerg wants to go for a bust, they're going to have to do it right in the natural ramp or the main base ramp, which is easily defended here from the setup that ByuN has. So loving this build order selection out of him. Armani now going for 2-hatch Spire into a 3rd hatchery. So this is a really fast tech out here from Armani. We've seen Zergs go for this a couple of times here on Stargazers because the map is quite vertical. Oftentimes we can see Zergs get some value out of the mutas. But we'll see if he's able to snowball that some effect. Now, I don't know if ByuN was able to... Oh my god, the drones.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty incredible catch. Normally we would chalk up the role of Hellions is really just to kind of mitigate creep spread, but to actually come in there and get workers and leave unscathed, all Hellions are... Oh my god. Now,
oh no.
I think we're seeing a little bit of the psychological defeat here from Armani. He's kind of going through the motions, and now this is an unheard of amount of damage to receive, for this phase of the game, especially for what the function of these Hellions is for. And now even the Overseer goes down.
It really is, and that hurts more than it normally would in a TBZ because Armani opted to go for a fast tech into a later 3rd base. So, I mean, his worker count's already kind of low here at 54. He would much rather have that closer to 58 or 60 if those Hellions hadn't gotten damage in, but these mutas going to come in now. There is no turret here on the right side of this expansion, so a little bit of counter damage coming in here from Armani, but it's not going to be able to last too long as ByuN does have a very healthy count of Marines. And Armani behind this, he wants to keep the pressure up. He wants to continue to try to keep ByuN on the back foot here because it's kind of a tenuous situation back at home, especially after losing those drones, right? So adding in another round of Lings, another round of mutas before droning up yet again is... He wants to try and hit critical mass where he's able to make plays like this, where he's able to catch Marines that are going to be... Oh, hold that thought, actually. This is a huge drop coming in the main base.
He's going to march right in here. Now, the mutas are on the way back, but they're actually pretty far away. So can he find a target that's worth kind of focusing down?
Oh,
he's going to go for the layer. Now, he can actually take advantage. Okay, the pool, that's also acceptable.
Oh, this position behind the minerals, too. Armani just caught completely out of position here as ByuN will eventually get cleaned up, but that is a fantastic trade.
I was going to say, if he kills the pool off, then it's going to be easier for him to be surrounded.
And that gives him a bit of breathing room, too, because, I mean, those mutas, they don't really want to be back at home defending. They want to be applying pressure in the middle of the map.
That's 100% right. You want to be killing stuff. You want to be forcing him to make turrets. So when the mutas are forced to defend and there's actually damage that's dealt over there, that's pretty incredible. Oh! All right. Thought he was going to fly right through that. Get a little bit worried for Armani here.
Yeah, ByuN now pushing across the middle of the map.
We got to watch the Widow Mines here. That's going to be the most important moment. If those connect onto mutas or maybe just take out an absurd clump of Lings, it's going to be hard to recover. This is 3-base versus 3-base, by the way. So Zerg, we're not even seeing Zerg try to defend a 4th. He doesn't have one.
All right. Zergling's coming in here.
The targeting is so good, and that's what we were talking about. It connects onto the mutas. He's now getting these queens. So this is like that push on 3 bases from Terran, but it's not even a 4th base that we're looking at right now.
Oh, that Widowmine gets yet another good hit as, man, ByuN getting tons of damage, and he will eventually get cleaned up, but that was a great trade for him. I mean, the muta count dwindles yet again, and Armani did a great job of setting up with these, the Lings going for the flank, but ByuN was just so quick with the trigger there. He took down every single Baneling as they were coming in.
There were no
connections.
Yeah. It was something else, man. I mean, the way he targeted that down.
This is the kind of engagement that we see where, Terran might eventually begin to parade push. And Armani, he might have lost such a significant amount of his army there that he's not going to be able to continue to scale with the Terran base because Armani behind this, I mean, a moment ago we were talking about, 52 drones? He's now only up to 50 or 63. He just had a round of drones finished, but he's still just 3-base economy, whereas ByuN, 3 bases, 69 workers, ton of mules, 4th hatchery coming down. He's in a great spot, and I kind of feel like if he hits critical mass yet again with these Marines and the Widow Mines, Armani just might not have enough to defend.
He's going to come in again. By the way, the 4th base has been taken. It's not in a pushable location. It's actually up in that kind of nook base in the very back. He's going to come up now. There's a lot of Banes here, though. Might be too much to try to fight. Oh, not anymore.
What an insane hit there with the Widow Mine. And, man, even these Marines here at the 3rd base getting tons of damage in. counterattack gets thwarted at the third base of ByuN as well, as he's just firing on all cylinders right now. He's not really taking any counter damage. Even Widow Mines, the fourth base here for Armani. I mean, just ByuN is everywhere, it feels like.
Yeah, the Banes are going to try to morph in again over here. Now, that could be dropped at any time, by the way, this fourth base. I think it has some drones mining at it. Maybe just a little handful here. But, I mean, the pushing is looking very scary. Kind of a bold move here. He's going to come in and try to clear out the creep really quick. Is he going to set up for a push?
He's just gonna try and poke and prod just a little bit and set up these Widow Mines in a nice position where he can stem back and kind of use them as a defensive front, right? Because for Armani, like, if he gets a Baneling hit, or if his Banes get hit yet again by the Widow Mines, it could be disastrous. And here we go. He's coming in right now. Not a lot of Lings to support these Banelings, and ByuN is able to artfully micro off of creep. And Armani, that Baneling count was so high, but it's now so low, and Armani even taking a fight here against Marines with the Mutalisks. This is a very scary proposition as we see ByuN 150 supply to 115, and he recognizes the situation.
Yeah, and look at this. I mean, it's like we were talking about earlier. This could be dropped, and when it is, I mean, the Banelings are having to go all the way around. The Banelings aren't even here in time to see the hatchery die. Another base is set up over here.
Yeah, I mean, this is just tough. A tough position here for Armani. The muta count isn't high enough to really stop these drop plays effectively. And we just see every single fight, ByuN is chipping away just a little bit at Armani. And behind this Armani, he has to make units to stay alive. So his drone count, it's not getting any higher. ByuN now on 78 workers, and as a result, he's up 40 supply.
So I guess the Zerg can try to come in here and counter. I guess not even that. There's really not a lot I think that Armani can do. I'm scratching my head trying to figure out, okay, is there a way out? And, you know, when you see a counter like that and it basically does nothing, meanwhile, there's these whole squads of infantry just roaming to kind of confirm that there is no base. I mean, ByuN knows he's basically won the game. He just has to close it out.
Yeah, it feels like there really isn't any answer here for Armani. I mean, it's been such a long stretch of him not being able to produce any drones, just trying to fight for his life, but ByuN getting the better of every single trade. He's going to win this series 3-0 as we have two quick best of fives to start things out here in the Super Tournament.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Well, that's the results, guys. ByuN with a commanding performance there against Armani. You know, you can see really ByuN just has Armani's number. I don't think Armani did that much necessarily wrong in the later parts of the game, but ByuN definitely knows how to kind of get that early game advantage and keep it. Whether it's builds, he also parlayed, you know, Game 2 and Game 3's build off of the previous builds from the games before that. I mean, kind of a masterful best of 5 overall from him. And he'll be our second player now moving on into the round of 8 here at the GSL Super Tournament.
In the second matchup today, ByuN takes down Armani with a 3-0 score. Congratulations, thank you. So Super Tournament Season 2, you advanced to round of 8. How do you feel? I mean, just looking at the score, it was a pretty convincing fashion for me. But I don't think it was that lopsided if you look at the game. So, you know, whoever I go up against, my mindset was to try my best and then try to not underestimate the enemy. And that was pretty instrumental to the victory today. So, you know, as I said before, although the score was 3-0, it was a pretty neck-and-neck match, in my view. So, ByuN, now your head-to-head record against Armani in the offline match is 9-0. So, what makes you so strong against Armani? I mean, the stats show that, but when I get into the game, it doesn't feel like the score shows. And when Armani has a group of Mutalisks, it's really hard to go up against him, hard to defeat him. And then, you know, I came up with some impromptu strategies to take him down. I mean, your form is getting better and better. In Super Tournament qualifiers, you defeated Hero and Solar to make it here. And it feels like you're just like reinventing yourself. I mean, I admit Hero is a formidable opponent, but it's not, you know, I don't think it's really a big of an accomplishment defeating Solar. But I feel like Solar in the offline match is going to be pretty strong. And I too, I think I perform better in the offline stage these days, and it's gotten better for sure. I'm still gonna have to practice harder though. So you're saying that defeating Hero was a proud achievement, but not for Solar, okay. So there has been some disappointment with the results this year. So what is your goal for Super Tournament? I mean, I've already accomplished my goal for this Super Tournament. I won my first match, so that's my goal accomplished. And my round of 8 opponent is none other than Maru. And I've known Maru for 11 years now. So over the course of 10 years, you know, I've met him more this year than the rest of the years. So I met him really frequently this year. So including GSL, Africa TV Champions Cup, DreamHack, you met him so many times. But what is really disappointing is you had so many chances to take him down, but you're always so close to defeating him. And now the Destiny has matched up you guys in the round of 8. That's right. You know, I've always been taken down by him the round of 8, round of 4. I mean, playing against him, getting matched up with him, it's not that big of a deal. And it's a good chance to, it's a good opportunity to test myself on where I am at. And I can always, I always know how much I've improved playing against Maru. And although I always do lose against Maru, I learn a lot from him. And it's always like I might be able to take him down, and then in the end I lose to him. It's always like that. It's always like a seesaw game. But I'll try to take it down this time in the Super Tournament. That's a boast of confidence from you, ByuN. So anything else you want to say to the fans? I mean, it's an offline stage in a long time. And in GSL, last time I was defeating the round of 10. I mean, I want to say a lot of things, but I'll try to keep it short. I'll try to defeat Maru next week and then try to have another interview. Well, ByuN, once again, congratulations on your win today. Thank you. Okay, that's the second match wrapped up. We're going to take a short break before the third match between Creator and Solar. We'll be back very soon.
Please don't leave my room again. You're the only thing that made me feel like this year is still worth living. I wish I didn't have to write a song about how everyone here hates me. So I'll drown in my mistakes that I can't fix. to therapy sessions, but I still feel pretty weak. And that's the way you abuse me, and that's the way you destroy me, and that's the way that you hate me every fucking day. And I'm so sick of getting stoned in the shower. My lungs collapse and I lay there for hours, 'cause I don't want to waste a breath on anything. The places I fly with these broken wings, and it's true that I need you. This life's a fucking fiction, I need a redo. I'm just a waste of breath, I need something new, something out there to help me through. I can't leave this place forever. I'm a goddamn mess, but I swear I'll get better in time. And I can't seem to get past this bad weather. All the thoughts in my head just seem to cloud over in time. So I'll spend all my money going from guitar lessons to therapy sessions, but I still feel pretty weak. I'll be coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. I'll be coming up hot for a minute.
아침은 라떼, 헐리 점심은 라떼, 헐리 저녁엔 라떼, 헐리 풍부하게 달콤하게 라떼 헐리. 달달한 충전이 필요할 땐 칸타타 라떼 헐리.
실성제다 제로. 그래 걱정 빼고 고민 빼고 망설임 빼고 This is zero life. 없어도 되는 건 빼고
실성사이다 제로.
상큼함 맥스, 칼로리 X, 맛있는 탐스 제로. 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로, 탐스 제로. 같이 떠나볼래?
Okay, Phoenix, let's go. Open your eyes, open your heart. 넘어가면 another rebel. 밤이 일어나지도 피니시 불타 두 배로 난 지치지 않아 무게 올려 부스팅의 맛으로 드라이버 another rebel. 어제 쓰러져도 다시 높여내 10의 칼로리 제로 뛰어 피곤한 날 리셋. 버핏 심장을 뛰게 해 이러니 버킷 리스트. 날 다시 깨우는 마법같이 핫세 온몸에 그 강의 짜릿함이 핫세 피닉스 마법같이 핫세 핫세.
(2022) Hot 6 GSL Super Tournament Season 2.
Yo, welcome back, everyone. GSL Super Tournament. Super Tournament returns. It's been really one-sided so far today.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I guess with these matchups, you can't be that shocked. I think that we're past the point of the other games being like that, though. I think Creator and Solar, this should be close. We were chatting a little bit about this on the break. I mean, Creator, you know, if he's on, he looks very good. The question is, how is he going to do today?
Yeah, it's really what Creator is going to show up here at GSL, because we've seen from him in the past. I mean, he has what it takes to go to a championship easily. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. He's having the best year of his career so far, but he is really shaky sometimes. I mean, we all know that he's kind of an emotional player, and if he kind of gets inside his own head in the series, it could go very bad for him. I know that he got 3-0'd by Solar at DreamHack Atlanta, which was, what, like a week or two ago, very recently. But you know, I feel like we didn't really get to see his full stuff there in that best of 5. So I'm interested in seeing what he brings to the table here because, I mean, Crater is a guy that we know that anytime he enters like a Super Tournament or a GSL Coda season, he's definitely has the potential to go top 8, top 4.
I mean, this would be an incredible redemption arc for him. If he was able to win this Super Tournament and come out and kind of close this year out, defeating that final demon, which I guess ultimately is himself and his history. He got to a GSL Codes Finals this year, almost going all the way. That would be really something. But, you know, today we're going to really test and see where he's at. You know, he didn't have the performance that I think he wanted in Atlanta. But, you know, Solar, he's a tough guy to go against.
Yeah, and he had a fantastic tournament there at DreamHack Atlanta as well. I mean, he only got top 8, but he almost beat Maru to get to the top 4. It was a 3-2 series, so he's been playing really well, not just in PB or ZVP, but also in his other matchups. And I mean, this is kind of nice because Solar is kind of another one of those Zergs that when he's on, he's really hot. And it feels like kind of if he was able to ride that momentum from DreamHack Atlanta, we might see some more games from him that surprise people.
I'm excited for this one. I do want to say I think Solar's slightly favored. I know some people might think I'm crazy for saying that with how well creators looked in the past. But I want to watch each of these games. I want to really get a barometer on where creators at emotionally. And by the way, it's okay to be an emotional player. The question is, can you master those emotions? Can you use them and harness that kind of energy to propel you forward to win, or is it going to hold you back? That's the big question. We're going to start this out on the map inside and out. Creator, as you said, State, having the best performance of his entire career since year 1 of the GSL, and hoping to actually raise the trophy and hold it up. This is the last GSL tournament of the year before we go into 2023 with more StarCraft 2. So let's see how he does, and maybe this will be his tournament to take.
Game start. Protoss, Creator. Zerg, Solar.
So for me, what I'm most interested in this series is what kind of builds Creator kind of brings to the table here, because it's always tough when it's always tough when you kind of play one of those weekend tournaments where you have to absolutely grind games all day, and you show all of your builds in like PvZ, for example, and even playing Solar in 3 games. And generally in matchups like this, the more that the players play against each other, the more it's going to favor the Zerg, right? Because they're kind of downloading their opponent's strategies into their brain. They're kind of decoding what the variables are that they need to be concerned about. And for me, that's a little bit concerning for Creator, just because he also got 3-0'd by Solar there at DreamHack Atlanta. And as you see right there, I mean, the match history as well, Solar kind of has his number just a little bit. I'm right there with you. I kind of want to give the edge to Solar here, but Creator, I think if he's able to mix things up just a bit and perhaps come away with some new strategies, some new build orders that maybe Solar doesn't expect, we could see him walking away with this one.
Yeah, my biggest concern is the period of time between when these guys last fought, right? I do feel like you need a little bit of time to cook up and stew up some new styles and strategies. And, you know, if Solar so promptly shut down Creator before, how is Creator going to come into this? And I do think there is a little bit of a burden on the Protoss to just have a variety of builds. You know, you have to have this kind of rotation and element of surprise. And one thing about Solar is he's very, very adaptive. So game 1 going to be super important here.
Yep, Creator, for now, just going for a gate expand. Gets a lot of scouting information with his first probe, as well as forces Solar to take that forward expansion. And Solar going for kind of fast circling speed here, but not too much of a surprise, as both players are smack growing up, and Creator actually going for the robotics facility. Okay.
Yeah, the robo's there. So we're getting the first, the foundation of the builds are going to be laid out in a little bit. But definitely some kind of a robotech, most likely going to be some kind of a War Prism coming out here. We have seen some plays with disruptors you know, a Warp Prism right into Disruptor and a little bit of a push and try to see if you can kind of finesse out damage. I don't know if that's what this is going to be, but we should watch for that.
Yeah, we'll see what Creator decides to do with this. I am a little bit surprised that he's opting for this as opposed to going for, you know, a Stargate or for a Twilight Council and some additional gateways.
Yeah,
And
that would be the more normal approach, right?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head, I think.
I think I got it. I think it's going to be this Disruptor play. Because if you get the Robo that fast, I don't know what else you'd want to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not adding any other infrastructure, it kind of has to be this, right? So second gateway now going down as we'll likely see a Disruptor. I mean, he could also go really old school and do a Colossus drop. I remember when that was like all the rage, like, what, 5 years ago?
Oh, yeah, man. Just one Colossus inside the Warp Prism flying around.
I mean, kind of looking at the way the minerals and the gas are lining up makes me think that might be what it is. We'll have to see what he decides to go for.
Doesn't the Warp Prism, it doesn't actually pick them up, it turns them into data?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't know, like, I haven't like read the lore, but that's what the graphics tell me.
That sounds scary. What do you mean, like you're dead? They remake another one of
Like
you?
the Star,
It's like
the
the Star Trek thing? I just added to them? I'm like, no, that's what Facebook thinks of me. Like,
selling it to advertisers.
I mean,
it is a scary proposition, yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I thought about this so much as it was like going to be a problem in my life. Where I was like, I won't let them teleport me anywhere because I don't want to die.
I will not be beamed up, Scotty.
It'll be a copy of me. It won't be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the rush is going to be coming out in a little bit here. Gravatic Drive is almost done. And that's going to give a lot more micro potential here.
Soccer doesn't spot the overboard right away.
Yeah, it was kind of in between the patrolling pattern here.
Well, a lot of gateways going down as well. Creator now going up to 5
now,
gateways.
Does he actually see the Robo, though?
I think he's going to be able to see the Robo. I'm not.
No,
he actually doesn't. Yeah.
Oh,
well,
never
okay.
mind.
Well,
Well,
he sees the Warp Prism.
right.
Yeah. It's just like doing a caster thing where it's like, oh, does he know? Yeah. Sees the Warp Prism. Sees the Adepts. Does get us around.
Oh,
will he be able to kill them before the Shade? No. Barely able to pop off. And the first Disruptor shot coming in gets 3 drones. Not too shabby. And oftentimes we see these Disruptor shots go off and you'll like damage a Queen, maybe get 1 drone. So you're happy about this. And man, Colossus in 7 gateways total.
So he's going to try to do as much damage as possible while keeping the Warp Prism alive. By the way, that is the most important unit right now. Even more so than the Disruptor is the Warp Prism, because behind this he's going to have a Colossus, a bunch of ground units. You see Sentry, Stalkers, Adepts. And he needs to then merge this all together into a push. So any bit of damage he can do, again, as long as he doesn't lose the Warp Prism.
Shot comes in. Not able to find too much damage there with that shot. But Solar feels like he might have a good read on exactly what's going on. There's no third base yet for Protoss. He knows this. He sees the Colossus now, and he's sitting at 52 drones. So he's going to have a very large army. Creator's going to have to navigate this very well.
A probe, right? But he should be done making probes. I don't think you want to take a third base with this. Maybe if you start to lose the fight, but this is really your moment. He comes out once more.
2 more drones.
Half health, gets away.
So in total, I think that might be 7 drones that Creator's been able to pick off over the course of this harassment, which is a fair amount. Definitely better than nothing as we see him now moving across the map. He does have an observer here with this army. We will be able to begin chipping away at this creep spread. Warp Prism going really wide around the map. Huh. Is he trying to fake him out? I'm not really sure what the play is here. Because he's warping back in at base.
Yeah, I'm actually confused.
In his main.
Personally,
I think this is a little bit of a fake. He's just trying to hit critical mass.
So this is like big galaxy brain stuff. He's got 2 Immortals back here.
Yeah.
He's sat in the middle of the map. He is going to do a very delayed all-in. I think he wants the Zerg to re-drone again, I think.
That's exactly what it is. He wants 1 big round of drones, so he's trying to fake it off. And, wow, actually gets a Queen there and a Transfuse. 2 Transfuses in total popping off, so it's very good for him. And I mean, with Disruptors, you kind of want the Zerg army to be pretty big too, right? Because once the numbers get big, it's hard to dodge the shots effectively.
That's actually a really good point.
And on top of that, his sentries are going to be very close to max energy as well. So there is a little bit of advantage here in terms of army scaling for Creator. But Solar's economy is better, so he will have more stuff. This is all going to come down to micro here.
Okay, he's just going to start the push now.
That's a lot of Protoss.
I've never quite casted a game like this.
Yeah.
I have never quite seen this, but I get it.
I kind of like him waiting for critical mass here. I mean, that's a lot of Roaches and Ravagers. If he's able to get good force fields, good disruptor shots, he can just turn this game on his head, as we now see Creator beginning to push forward just a bit.
Lane counterattack, but the entrance is plugged up.
That's such a big army. All right, first force field coming down. Disruptor shot does get one Ravager. Creator playing this very slowly here.
Yeah, now remember, it's not a lot of area to try to move through. He really needs to get these rocks torn down, honestly. That should give him a little bit more room to try to navigate this.
Creator still with a ton of force fields in the bag.
They connects on one of those sentries here. Immortal's way in the back. The Disruptor's on the side here, ready to fire some shots out.
Oh, great force field's gonna get 2 Disruptors. Oh, that Disruptor hit! Huge! Slur's army just suddenly dropping is now Creator with a 20 army supply lead.
And look at the clutch hold positions. He knows exactly when to back up, hold position, warp in, do whatever he needs to do.
This army is massive. Ling Flake now coming in. Disruptor shot goes in again, gets 2 more Ravagers as well as a Roach.
Oh my God. I think he's won the game.
What a phenomenal push here from Creator. Just hitting critical mass here, and Solar is no answer for it. GG.
Dude.
Wow, that was awesome.
That was crazy.
What a cool build.
I've never casted anything quite like that.
I love that. I love that from Creator.
It looked like the build that I was mentioning where it's like really quick disruptors into a push. Then it's like, oh, okay, he wants to get a Colossus. And then he comes out, he doesn't move. He makes 2 more Immortals in the back. So, you know, there's a lot more Roaches that are made in that mix as well here, because you think you're worried about Colossus, right? Normally you kind of hard commit onto one of these Robotechs. He got all of them. I think the only one probe he made was when he got scouted. I think that's what I got confused about earlier.
He had full 2 base saturation,
yeah,
but he sent a probe to the 3rd base to fake that he was going to take a 3rd.
Okay.
So he made 1 more probe to once again fully saturate the natural.
Damn, dude. Sick game. Creator already with a 1-0 lead. Can he keep it going?
That
Can
was
he get
awesome.
his revenge from DreamHack Atlanta? That's the question.
Oh, that was a great game, man. I'm smiling real wide right now.
I love seeing stuff like that. All right, Tropical Sacrifice for map 2. And that's loading up right now, guys. The best of 5 with Creator versus Solar continues on here at the GSL SuperTournament.
Game start. Protoss, Creator. Sir, Solar.
God, I live for games like that, Tasteless.
That's crazy.
So
I don't
much
even know
fun.
how well that can be copied, because that is such a technical approach. That like is made for taking down a top 8 in the world player. Is what that is.
And Creator just played it so smart, too. He sharked around with his army just a little bit in the early game, where he knew that he couldn't kind of get run over by the Zerg because Zerg wasn't, you know, full power yet. They couldn't take him on off creep. And so there's a little bit of a dance there where he's trying to keep Solar on a low drone count for a long time, and then he postures as if he's going to attack to kind of keep Solar on that low eco, right? And then he backs off, and he wants to wait for Solar to make a round of drones, and then he goes. But, I mean, even if Solar had a really good idea of what Creator was doing, it's exactly what we talked about in that game, where, yes, Solar does have the better economy. Yes, he's on 3 base to 2 bases. His production is better. But Creator, his sentries, he had a lot of sentries. They all got close to max energy by the time that push hit.
Yeah.
And Solar, what units is he going to make? He can't go up to Vipers. He can't go up to high-tech units. He has to make a lot of Roaches and Ravagers. And once you get a really high number of those units, suddenly force fields become better and disruptor shots become way more effective. It's so hard, even on creep, to split an enormous army against disruptor shots. As we saw that game, I mean, it felt like 2 or 3 shots in a row from Creator got huge damage in. I mean, even like the quote-unquote misses, like the underperforming shots, we're getting like 2 Ravagers and a Roach, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Roaches and Ravagers are good up to a point, and then you really like need to kind of get rid of them and go into the higher tech stuff. And so to kind of bait him into continuing to make that when you're already actually countering it, genius.
I feel like the only way Solar could have won that game in that position is if he set up like a huge wraparound flank, because he has to minimize the damage from the disruptors and the force fields.
And he did a flank later, but it was with the Lings.
Right.
And that's really not how you want to do it anyways. Oh, State. You've
Robo
got the
again.
Robo again. Now, I know we're only in game 2, but I do want to point out, like, sometimes the best build, a set of builds to have at a best of 5 or best of 7 is where they all start out looking the same, and then they're all just different versions of it. Like, I do not imagine he will fly around with disruptors, fake, make a Colossus, sit in the map, and then make Immortals and Sentries and push. Like, I don't think that's what's coming. But maybe this time he flies around with disruptors and then just pushes with the Colossus and the Stalkers. Maybe, I don't know.
Or maybe it takes a faster third base.
Yeah, or expands right away.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to play it. Up until this point, it's pretty much an identical build. The second gateway is just now going to go down. 1 Adept, 1 Stalker, 2 gases. It all looks the same.
So we wait for now. Unless, of course, Solar elects to do something pretty dramatic. This is really a game in the Protoss's hands. And, of course, the question we got to ask Solar is, can you figure out what it is? One thing about the last game was that Creator put out so much false information that, it's the better you are at reading stuff. But, like, there's so many red herrings in this. It's like a Sherlock Holmes Holmes build or
I get what
something
you're
like that.
saying. I mean, there's a couple of things to say about that. So, I don't know if you have this experience when you're like playing Brood War on the ladder, but for me, like back when I used to play StarCraft 2 full time, and now when I play Age of Empires, I often find that if I play someone that's like their rating is significantly lower than mine, I will play way worse because I can't get a good read on what they're doing. And the tempo of the game is just gone. And it's kind of like you kind of get in your own head a little bit, and you're throwing off your game.
Yeah, you're expecting certain types of plays, and there might be like a meta or a way of approaching the game at a lower level or something this player hasn't learned that you should be able to play better against. That's why, like, if you're really the best of the best, you kind of could stop everything, but you have such a deep breadth of knowledge about all these situations. But no, 100% I've experienced that, where I'm playing against somebody who's worse, and I'm like, what is he doing? And then I don't know how to prepare for it.
Yeah, so this is like the pro gamer equivalent of that, where you have the same feeling, but your opponent's really good.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's a daunting prospect. And yeah, Creator just, as you said, he put out so much false information.
Dude, double Stargate.
Yeah, look at this. Oh man, I'm loving what we're seeing out of Creator today. This is so cool. And up until this point, I mean, even including this point, Solar, this looks identical to the previous game. He doesn't know these double Stargates going down. His Overlords have gotten cleaned up. I see on the minimap now he does have one going into the natural expansion. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get vision
Whoa,
for the
this
Stargates.
is insane. What?
Nice pick.
I felt like that was about to completely backfire, and he was going to lose both of them in the War Prism.
I felt totally confident, man. I know how good War Prisms are.
So is it 2? Okay, it's Phoenixes.
Yeah. Oh, man, that makes killing 2 queens so much better, too. That's actually sick.
You're totally right. It makes perfect sense.
Wow.
And he takes the third base.
Creator is so good. Oh, there's a Spire coming down from Solar as well.
Oh, my God. I think
this is...
Right now, guys, this looks really bad for Solar.
Yeah. I mean, if it is Phoenixes... Oh, he's going to lose another queen. Wow. I want to get a queen count check right now, because the production tab, I'm seeing no more queens in production. Right now, Solar is making resources. If he goes for Mutas, I feel like it's just straight up GG. And I don't think he knows that it's Stargate.
To be honest, I was trying to think of all the different things you could do after the War Prism. It did not even occur to me to go double Stargate. That was like not even in my mind. You could see like Solar's kind of I think still using the information he had from the last game to try to enhance his decision making here for this game.
And he's only down to 5 queens now. He hasn't reproduced any of them, taking a 4th base, and now the Overseer is going to come in, and this is a critical time to get the scouting information too, because that Spire is just about to pop. I mean, imagine if he were to make a bunch of like Mutalisks because he played blind.
If he had done it 10 seconds later, that's what we would be seeing here.
Yeah, it could have been disastrous, but now Solar has kind of a complete picture of what's going on. He is still caught off guard, but at least now he can kind of formulate a response, and it will be 8 Corruptors.
But the Corruptors kind of create a funny dilemma as well here, because they don't have much use unless they're actually just able to fight.
Yeah, it's
You know what I
really...
mean?
It shuts down the Protoss tech, but it doesn't do much more than that. You're not really getting additional value. You're just kind of mitigating whatever the Protoss has.
And look, I mean, there's a Twilight Council coming here now, so he's probably just going to get a bunch of Stalkers to cover the Phoenixes.
Yeah, and he's cut Phoenix production, so he's kind of content with what he got. And I want to get 6 Phoenixes. Yeah, that's not a lot versus 8 Corruptors. So, man, I'm really liking this out of Creator. Solar had a bigger investment in the air than Creator did, I think. I mean, that's a lot of Corruptors. He's making another one. He still doesn't know how much Creator is committing onto the air, but Creator's already transitioned on the ground. He's getting a Templar Archive. He's getting Charge.
You don't normally see people get out-teched like this. And look at this. The moment he sees the Corruptors come across the map, he comes in. He's still got a recall in his pocket, so we can always bring him back home. Meanwhile, this Disruptor is going to come in here again. Oh, it's just a little bit too far? A little bit too crazy?
That one Roach running for its life. Well, I feel like the Disruptor, I mean, he's going to recall and save it because there's no point just, throwing it away, but it doesn't add too much value to the army that Creator is building right now. It's mostly going to be, the Zealots, the Archons, all these gateways, because Solar, he's not going to have a lot of Roach Ravagers to deal with this. I feel like it's mostly going to be Ling, Baneling, some number of Ravagers, and these Corruptors. And we'll see what Solar's able to get done. I mean, he does have the eco advantage right now, and his army supply is significantly higher, but again, I feel like he kind of did get tricked just a bit there. I mean, the response was a little bit disproportionate to the Phoenixes, but not so much that it's, game ending.
No. But, I mean, what an uncomfortable journey this has been for Solar here. And by the way, I'm going to call it right now. I think in Game 3 we're going to have a Robo opening again.
Yeah?
With Disruptors. I think it's going to happen once more. If not, so be it. But, I mean, this is becoming pretty exciting. Zerg's maxed out now, although it's kind of an odd comp, right?
Yeah.
Some of this is Corruptors, too. The funny thing with Corruptors is they're also kind of hard to trade out. If you don't want to, unless you want to just let them die.
Yeah, I feel like
the Phoenixes don't have to fight them.
Yeah, you want to kill the Phoenixes, and then you want to trade them out for like a Nexus or something. But
yeah.
This army for Solar, although it's a little bit unusual, it's quite scary. Oh my god, that Ravager. Oh my god!
What?
Those were insane
shots!
That
was so sick. I actually didn't even see the second one after the first. That's crazy. He's going to warp it again. Coming down now.
This game turning on its head with 2 Disruptor shots. The Solar just gets caught completely unprepared. And Creator pouncing on the opportunity is not going to give Solar any breathing room right now, just pushing across the map instantly with all these Archons. The Disruptor is now getting recharged, going on the Banelings yet again, only gets 1 morphing in. This is a very scary position here for Solar.
They're going to come in further now. And I mean, the force field's so good. The force field is so good. The Archon's going to get isolated and killed off in the corner.
That's 3 max damage Disruptor shots in the past minute and a half.
Corruptors finally going to get their value now.
They're going to try and take down this Nexus. They might actually get it, but I mean, the real story right here is this army.
Oh!
Again! That's so much damage coming down.
All the Banes.
I mean, Solar hasn't really been able to replenish his Baneling count this entire time, and he's lost so many Lings, so many Ravagers to these Disruptors. Another shot coming in. Does get dodged there by Solar as he's starting to get a little bit of ground made here. He might be able to defend, but man, Creator's been getting so much value out of this army.
Well, the problem is that Creator's not quite able to get in and do the damage, right? Like, he's been held at bay.
It does feel like that. I mean, he's been getting the most insane trades with these Disruptors, but his economy is just so much behind Solar's that it feels like his army really hasn't gotten stronger in the past minute or two. It's been about the same size, whereas Solar, yeah, he's losing a lot, but he's also remaxing very quickly.
Well, that was some pretty good exchange there for Creator. He's going to keep pushing up now. A lot more Banes are going to finish up here. The Archon wall still, well, the SG does get wiped out over there. And it does seem like Creator's army is beginning to thin out, is becoming a little bit less complex. But he's actually breached the position. So now he can try to close in. There are no Disruptors in this mix. Yeah, so these Banes are going to finish. It's going to be a lot of damage coming out here.
Yeah, and this warping coming from the Warp Prism is quite small, so these Banelings and Ravagers might be able to clean up this army here for Creator as Solar is fighting back. I mean, he's had some really unfavorable trades, but these Corruptors actually getting so much value.
And suddenly it's like the Corruptors are the MVP units in this game.
Wow.
What he was forced into making is actually going to be the fall of Creator.
Wow, what a game.
1-1.
I mean, there's just so much to unpack there. That was...
I can't believe that that is actually, you know, ultimately the winning move was like these Corruptors that, you know, seem to be, you know, the thorn in the paw of Solar. Now were the actual key unit that allowed him to close that out.
There were like 2 minutes where Creator got 3 or 4 disruptor shots that pretty much had like a unit in the full AoE, which is insane value. And Creator just continues to push on that, but Solar's economy was so strong, he had so many bases that it's like, yeah, he's losing these units, but his army, like, he's able to replenish everything he loses.
Yeah.
And the Corruptors back at home, denying the 4th base and then getting the natural expansion there for Creator. I mean, Creator just never really was able to add in these critical units to his army. I mean, it felt like he had a very small window after those disruptor hits where he was able to maybe get some damage done. But Solar's economy just on another level there. I mean, that was an incredible game from start to finish.
Creator's blowing me away strategically, but that strategy did kind of backfired on him, to be honest. We're going to go to Cosmic Sapphire now for map number 3 here. And again, by the way, not a 3-0 anymore. Finally, we have a real back and forth here. Hard to say who's going to take this. Again, Creator's really impressing me, but Solar, really graceful teching and switching and kind of adapting to what was a pretty turbulent game there from Creator.
All right, Cosmic Sapphire now loading up. This set tied 1-1. Who will take map number 3?
All right, guys, we're ready to go into this next map and decide who's going to take the lead here in this best of 5. Creator vs. Solar continues on.
Start. Protoss, Creator. Zerg, Solar.
You know, I had a feeling coming into today that this was going to be the highlight match of day 1 here at Super Tournament, but this has kind of blown away my expectations.
You were right, man. You got to trust your feelings.
It's been so much fun. I mean, Classic kind of showed a little bit more strength. Like on paper, yeah, he did get 3-0'd, but let's be real, he's up against like arguably the best player in the world.
Yeah, Maru
if
is
not like
pretty godlike, man.
Top 2, top 3.
So let's see if my theory's right that he's going to go for another Robo. It may be in a disruptor, maybe not, but we have a couple best of 5s where this is the theme, is that everything sort of looks the same. And so, you know, anything you learn from the last game doesn't help unless you can guess all the different, you know, build order trees that are available.
And I like the way that you talked about how Solar really played that gracefully there in game number 2, because, I mean, we can see everything as the observers, the casters, the people at home watching. We have complete information about everything that's happening in the game. And even we are surprised by the tech transitions that are happening. We're surprised by the amount of Phoenixes that are being made. And Solar is kind of navigating this in the dark and trying to figure it out as the game goes along.
And you know what? If I could just jump in, I mean, I bet if he had scouted that just a little bit later and he made the mutas, I think Creator wins.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he scouted that right before the mutas would have started, and that's what he was going to make, by the way, guys. It was going to be mutas coming in there.
I'm pretty sure you're right about that. Unless he had, like, some sick insight where he knows that Creator is, you know, prone to doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, just through experience of playing him or through rumors from other pros.
But it feels like the kind of thing that would be a muta switch because, I mean, like, there is a Warp Prism on the map, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or at least they're going to make some number of Corruptors to deal with the Warp Prism, and you still might get blindsided by a lot of Phoenixes coming out, so it's going to be a Stargate.
Okay, never mind. He's going to be going for the more traditional tech here.
Yeah, I was on the same page with you that we might see the Robo yet again, and maybe we'll see like a Twilight transition, or we'll see something kind of similar to game number 1 where maybe he will even like build a Colossus, but he'll take a 3rd base behind it, and then eventually go for a later push. But instead, Creator just going to mix it up a little bit here. Go for that Stargate now on 2 bases, but going to be straight into Void Ray. Okay.
So it might be a slower game here. We'll see if he makes multiple Stargates as well.
Ooh, able to get a drone. It's a nice little pickoff right there. This Adept continues to poke and prod over here in the natural expansion. Scouts it kind of everything here for Solar is about as standard as it gets. Low number of lings. Normal third base timing, and Solar coming in will also be able to scout this Void Ray. So a little bit different from game number 1 and game 2. It's whereas kind of both players really have a very good idea of what's going on right now.
Yeah, so far it's been a pretty transparent game. And he even saw the Oracle being made after that, which is probably one of the other final insights that tells you, what kind of game this is going to be, at least to start.
Nexus now coming down for Creator. That Void Ray and Oracle will be able to protect this. And yeah, a little bit more of a standard game here. For our Protoss players, second gateway going down. Man, I'm still kind of reeling a little bit from game 1 and game 2.
Well, it's been such, honestly, it's been like a real experience casting this best of 5 so far because it's been so different and so out there. But, Creator may just try to switch back into something a little bit more normal. I mean, there's also the fact that if you just do enough weird stuff every game, even if they don't know what's coming, they know it's not going to be normal.
Yeah.
And so it becomes more of you're just sort of guessing.
It's a very good point.
What do you have up your sleeve where, if you could also keep that in their mind that you can play a straight-up game, you can macro. By the way, was that a second or a third Stargate?
Second Stargate coming down.
Second Stargate, okay.
For a second, I was thinking we might see, Oracle and a Blinkstalker, which has proven very successful this year in PvZ.
That's the big hero play, right? Was kind of to approach the matchup so differently.
2 Adepts with no lings here, but not really getting that many drones. Only 3 going down as there's a lot of Queens. But not a very bad trade there for Creator. As Void Ray production continues here. As opposed to the Oracle. So right now 2 Void Rays going on 3. For Creator and now adding a robotics facility. So really tech heavy play here.
Yeah, and with the other Void Ray coming here, and it's like a delayed Void Ray pump. Usually, if you're going to go for a bunch of Void Rays, it's like you come out right at the start, and you just sort of, you maybe hide, you hide, how do I say this? Hide all of them but the first one.
Right.
But here, it's like he went and even got the Oracle, and then quietly went back, got air weapons. By the way, the core's at the entrance, right?
I think it is. Yeah, it should be.
So. It should be, right? That would only make sense with the way you develop. So the only way to really figure out that he's actually going for Stargate and not just Void Ray. Well, I guess it doesn't matter now because he's going to show it.
Really wants the Overseer to stay alive.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about this one.
Yeah, it's
this is a little bit of a later powering Stargate build. I thought he was going to hide it, and then the second one came out.
Yeah, this is really the kind of build where you're just kind of trying to snowball the strongest possible army composition and actually going to be immortal. Man, this almost feels like a Wings of Liberty game when the Void Ray Immortal comp.
No, it feels like we're in the wrong version of the game right now.
And Solar is going for Aspire yet again as a response to this.
And,
but I'm not sure if he knows. Okay, yeah, he does know now. If he didn't know already, he does know now. It's a ton of Void Rays.
Yeah, I was wondering something like maybe he wanted to make it look like he did make a second Void Ray and has a Stargate, but doesn't necessarily have more. Like maybe he's pocketing more.
Exactly.
But, and look, I understand the power of this build. The thing that always makes me a little bit uncomfortable when I watch Protosses do it is that you don't really have a lot of opportunities to be active.
Right.
And I feel like Zerg are just, a really good Zerg player kind of knows how to just maintain growth. And they need to be interfered with. They need to be messed with. And, this is one of these games where it's like, man, are you sure you're going to get ahead of Solar here? I know that the strength of the build as well is that Zerg can't really interact with the Protoss either, but I feel like I've casted way more games of Zerg winning versus this than losing.
I actually can't believe that Solar is going for Mutalisk here. I'm a little baffled by this choice. There's 2 Stargate Phoenix. He's getting air weapons, but this is going to be the tech of choice here for Solar as he's going to come in. We'll see right now how much damage he's able to get done. Phoenixes are in production, immediately takes down the battery, and he's adding to the Mutalisk count, so he just wants to fully commit to this air tech. But I feel like he hasn't really gotten that much damage done. I mean, if you're going to go Mutalisk like this, you kind of want to get a lot of probes with the first flood, right?
I think so, yeah.
Huh. I mean, frankly, this is something that I'm not very familiar with here in this matchup, but it does really nullify kind of the ground army and Robotech here for Creator, so Solar does have that in his advantage, but we are going to have a proper air battle here. Corruptor's now entering the field for Solar, and third Stargate, more shield batteries, and Phoenix is coming out for Creator. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, State. Like, I don't know about the Mutas. It just seems like it's probably the unit you don't want to have.
Yeah, I feel like if Creator, if he had a little bit more vision and he knew exactly how far away those Corruptors were, he would have tried to pounce on those Mutas a little bit harder, because he could have gotten so many of them.
But
once,
I guess now he
Phoenix
could just go for Corruptors, ultimately win the air fight, and then ooze down all the buildings. We could end up seeing the same ending.
Yeah.
But the way we got there was a very different path.
Yeah, it is a little, it's a little interesting, but I mean, keep in mind that Phoenixes, once they get +1 and +2 air weapons, are very scary, even against Corruptors. I mean, they have 2 attacks, so those upgrades scale really well, but you got to be really careful. You want to snowball them. You don't want to bleed out Phoenixes, as we're seeing here. That Phoenix count getting reset, and Creator going into carriers as well, so not going to be many more Phoenixes on the field.
Man,
and man,
this
this
is
is
a lot of
a
lings,
huge Ling flood. All right, yeah, I'm starting to get a good idea of what Solar is going for here, and I'm starting to like it.
I kind of dig what Solar's doing, yeah.
Yeah, this is scary.
And it doesn't seem like there's any one spot that can hold off everything, right?
A nice disruptor hit gets all of the roaches, but the Lings are the real story right now, is they're flooding in, and there isn't a lot of ground army here for Creator.
I mean, he's losing a lot of key tech over here.
But he is able to hang on just a little bit. Corruptor's coming in now. Will the carriers be able to stay alive? That's a lot of air here for Zerg. I mean, the Lings did get cleaned up without killing a lot of probes, but the air count got completely reset here for Creator, and that's the major takeaway from this fight.
I mean, Zerg I believe, is pumping a lot more Zerglings back here.
Yeah.
And there was so many key tech units that were killed back there. You know, there was like carriers, Void Rays, Phoenixes, all of which are coming out of, I think, 2 or maybe 3 Stargates.
Yeah, he's down to 1 carrier now. That's all he's got in the air.
And Lings are going to fare, I think, pretty well here, especially if the Mutas can snipe the Disruptor. Everything else is kind of not too great. Now, it looks like, unfortunately, for Solar's sake, he has the Lings with the Disruptors, while the Corruptors are over here where the...
oh, no. 2 Void Rays just got rallied into the air ball.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's really tough. And I mean, keep in mind this fight, these are not Stalkers with Blink. They're not Stalkers with +1 ground weapons.
Yeah,
these are basic Stalkers. So this is a much worse trade for Protoss than it normally would be here in the mid-game. He doesn't want to have a ground army. He wants to have air army, but...
Oh, another carrier goes down.
Yeah, Solar just continuing to control the air battle.
And he's just sniping all these important units. Now, he's still making Lings. He's still making Mutas. But it's the big air fleet that was reset.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't see Archons being made here. I don't see things that actually directly combat the Mutas. And he's kind of just running around and punching holes wherever he sees that he can get away with.
Yeah, Solar's army is so much more mobile. I mean, from Creator's perspective is the Protoss. You need to hold off that first push without losing a lot of key units. Otherwise, this is the situation where not only is your army not able to splinter off and handle different positions defensively, but also it's just straight up worse in a fight. I mean, again, these are gateway units with no upgrades. The old, like, Creator's invested so much into Flux Veins, into Phoenix range, into +2 air weapons, and he only has 5 Phoenixes on the field, so it's a really tough spot for him as Solar just continues to take these battles.
Oh, God. I think we're almost to the end here. There it is, GG. Solar takes game 3.
Yeah, Creator
with a fist slam to the desk, if you saw back there.
Not happy with that one.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a frustrating game. I mean, you gotta play that one perfectly and defend that first push very well if you're gonna have a chance. But
I just don't really like that style. I mean, I don't. Who am I to say what you should or shouldn't do? But we see this a lot of times where it's such a passive approach, right? That it just kind of lets the Zerg figure out the solutions. You're not really engaged with them when you do that.
Yeah, I'm also not a big fan of that style because for me, from my perspective, the Protoss, yeah, they are building a very powerful army composition, but it feels like the entire game, they're kind of like hanging on a knife's edge where if
they... the desk again back there. Did you hear that?
Is that what that was?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, what were you saying?
But it feels like Protoss is really kind of playing the game on a knife's edge, and if they, at any point, get checked where they lose their air units or they get caught out of position and lose a lot of eco, they're just in a ton of trouble. I mean, you have to play it perfectly to unlock the maximum potential from that. Whereas if you go for something more akin to, the Oracle Blinkstalker play that is gaining in popularity here in Korea and around the world, it's a lot more flexible, I mean, say you get caught in a position a little bit, okay, you have Oracles to protect your Stalkers. Say, like, there's a big counterattack, okay, like, you can warp in a ground army that's actually effective. You have Blinkstalkers, you have +1, you have +2, and again, you have those Oracles to defend. Whereas we saw Solar come in with one push, huge flood of Lings. Creator had to commit everything to defending that 4th base, and as a result, he was able to defend, but at what cost? He loses all of his air units.
It's just crazy, like, high wire act to get to where you need to be.
Yeah.
And, when we started to see those Stargate units fall, like...
That's it, because...
You've invested all of your income into those units and the upgrades that come with them. And that game ended with an army that might have, at a first glance, looked pretty healthy for the Protoss. It wasn't upgraded.
Mm-hmm.
They were all basic, tier 1 units, and it was an easy win. By the way, let's not forget, Creator did lose to Solar at DreamHack, and so it seems like he came in here with some cool new ideas for the first 2 games, and one of them worked. But, how many ideas can you come up with in that short period of time? I wonder if that's really what we're seeing happen here now.
Yeah,
and
that might be it.
Yeah, and so now we're further along now in the best of 5, and we're seeing that maybe Creator doesn't have anything that's like, unless it's hyper deceptive, like the greatest magic trick he can possibly pull off to trick him. You're kind of back into a normal game against Solar, where Solar sort of just outdoes you.
Yeah, and it feels like Creator has been one of the Protoss players that's a little bit more averse to kind of picking up on that Stalker Oracle style. We don't see it from him very often.
I think I've seen him do it once.
Yeah.
I can't even remember if it won off the top of my head, but he seems to have a very different approach to the game in general. Now, we also saw him hit the desk. Now, this matters because Creator has punched the desk before. He's the most emotional player we've got here in the GSL. And
I haven't quite seen an outburst of the scale from him. It's,
I'm used to it now. I'm unfazed right now. But, when we see him like that, he tends to then die out.
Right. It's not...
I hope he doesn't, but,
It's not really the mental state you want to be in. You want to be kind of calm and collected coming in. It's one of the reasons why a lot of players, when they come here to the studio, it's kind of tough for them to make that adjustment because you're playing in front of a live audience. You're not in a booth. You're right up there. And, I mean, even people that have tournament experience, it's just a very different environment. Whereas, these seasoned GSL veterans, it's just another day in the office to them, right? I mean,
totally relaxed.
We'll see Maru, like, even when he loses, he's like laughing about it, he's smiling, he's just totally chill.
Totally indifferent, yeah.
And you kind of need to have that collected mentality to really approach the game well, because if you're angry or if you're frustrated, you're not going to be making the best choices. I mean, you might be able to try and channel some of that.
An outburst, and then you're sort of like, okay, now you're in like the next game finally, and you're sort of in your own head, like
exactly.
It's that flood of adrenaline, all that.
Like, for me, my perspective, I mean, if I was Solar, if I see that outburst, I'm like, okay, I've won. Like,
you're like, okay.
They've mentally checked out. And, like, I understand that Creator's a very emotional player, and I love how passionate he is, but it's a little tough from a competitive side of it, because you just know that he's going to be entering this game in not the best mental state. He's going to be frustrated, and we're not going to see him play to the potential that we know he has. I mean, Game 1 was incredible. The way that he continuously threw out deceptive information and manipulated Solar and came through with this tremendous build, tremendous timing. Game 2 as well. I mean, he played it really well. He eventually lost out in the end. I mean, from my perspective, he has no reason to be down on himself. But we'll see if he's able to collect himself here for game number 4. It is match point. Solar up 2-1 against Creator as we go on to Day to C.
Protoss, Creator. Sir, Solar.
So this is really the big final test here for Creator for the year. I mean, this is, obviously we're going to be back in 2023 here, but the reality is, we're kind of closing out the years, the games of the year here, especially the studio. Right, this is it,
Yeah.
our last tournament before we start 2023. And look, it's I don't know, it's as it's been before, right? I mean, he's raging now. He had some of the most brilliant play we've ever seen in that game 1, right?
It was so much fun to watch.
It was so fun, and game 2 was actually really cool. Like, I really would like to go back and look at that game and kind of see what his thoughts were, and there's so much you could learn from him. But ultimately, he's got that ghost that's been following him, right? That he's he's raging, right? This reminds me a little bit of Idra, although Idra didn't, punch the desk as much. I mean, he would be mad, but it wasn't that type of raging. But it's these types of players that when the game doesn't, not even the game, when the whole series or whole tournament doesn't go perfectly, they kind of melt down.
I think this pylon is misplaced, by the way.
Where?
If I'm not mistaken, here at the natural. I'm just looking at the SimCity, and maybe I'm wrong, but can you fit like a 3x3 structure to plug this wall? What if
I
we
don't
get
know.
another shot of it?
Well, I mean,
sorry to derail you.
No, you're fine. But I've seen players where it's like everything has to go exactly perfectly. And if they're able to hit all those marks, almost like you're in a rhythm game, yeah, that doesn't look right to me.
It doesn't look right.
Yeah, that does not look like it. Well, here's the thing. We're going to know because Solar would punish it, although he might second-guess himself looking at it. It's also possible we're just seeing this wrong. Sometimes placement at StarCraft can be confusing.
Yeah, a little bit. But
yeah,
I love what you're saying there about
it's like
Idra.
a rhythm game. Like, they got to hit every single note. And if they don't, it's almost like they fall off entirely,
Yeah, it's... I don't really know what to make of it because, I mean, I was on a team with Creator for about a year. We were on Prime together, and even in practice back then, he never really would get to that level of frustration. It feels like it's something that's kind of grown over time.
Oh, really?
With him.
It's like a plaque that's built up.
Maybe I'm misremembering. I mean, that was 5-6 years ago, but it's tough to watch for exactly the reason that you said. I mean, this is the kind of player that, like, game 1 was beautiful. Game 2, he absolutely had a shot to win. I mean, he's one of the best Protoss players in Korea, bar none. And so for him to kind of get inside his own head like this, it's just... I love how passionate he is, but it feels like that's kind of channeling it the wrong way because this is somebody that is so capable.
You were right, by the way.
So capable of growing and reaching his potential and maybe even eventually becoming a GSL CEST champion. I mean, we almost saw that from him this year.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it hurts a little bit, I mean, I understand how competitive he is and how fiery he is, but I know how good he is as a player, and I feel like this is almost him limiting himself, and I'm a fan of Creator. I want to see him succeed.
Yeah, same
so
here. I want to be clear with everybody, too. Like, I'm rooting for the guy.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Oh, that
so
hurts.
we've had 2 consecutive, to be honest, pretty catastrophic moments in this game.
Yeah.
The first one was the pylon, which we were, like, almost not sure if we were seeing this correctly. Like, did he do it? Second one is he lost the Oracle. Now, this game's been on for a little bit over 4 minutes. So, I mean, that's not a lot of time to have 2 pretty big mistakes. Now, the pylon one, it's not like one that's going to hold him back, but it is sort of a embarrassing moment. You know what I'm saying?
It throws you off a little bit.
It throws you off, and you know that the commentators are going to mention it, the other pros are going to see it. And of course, losing the Oracle, just simply put, is bad. It's not forgivable early on. You really basically can't lose the Oracle. It's It's not the end of the world, but it's certainly a blunder to drop it.
Yeah, it does make your defense a little bit worse off when you go for that third base.
Your harass is worse. It's hard to tag to know what's going on. I mean, you're basically just working with an incomplete toolkit.
That's a great way of saying it, but we're now going for that third Nexus, adding the robotics facility and sentries. We'll have that. Oh, actually, second Oracle. So, okay, he made 2 more after that first one died off. This that caught a little bit out of position, but the Shade should save it. It barely got away. So we're now trying to hunt that down, I think. He knows it went to the watchtower. Oh, wow, Creator's really smart. I like that recall there. Save the Adepts. Now adding more gateways, adding in Immortals. And I wonder if this is Creator lining up for a timing. Yeah, 2 more gateways. We're not seeing a Twilight Council out from him yet. And also, having 4 sentries this early is kind of Creator kind of showing his hand in terms of trying to build up.
He's trying to accumulate energy there on those sentries while keeping them hidden away.
Yeah, but I feel like these kind of timing pushes, Solar's just historically been so good at stopping these. I mean, he's kind of similar to ByuN, like he's so good at fighting in the mid and the early game.
Yeah, he really is.
Like he's scary. I remember when I used to play like back in 2015, 2016. Oh wow, that is a huge stasis.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Nice pickup there for Creator. But I remember playing against him, and I would just get steamrolled like every single game by like Ro.16 Ravager.
This is pretty
so
cool.
good. Yeah, that's a lot of energy.
That was
though.
almost perfect. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I would say that's a net negative there for Creator. Like he kills a handful of lanes, but he needs this energy for this timing push. Like he doesn't have a lot of tech behind this. I don't think he has a Robo Bay. He doesn't have a Twilight Council. He's continuously adding more gateways. Like this is an all in.
And all these little mistakes we've seen already, like little cuts. He's bleeding, and he knows that this push he has to actually win. I mean, he has to make this work. And the Immortal.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. I was gonna say.
I thought that army was a little bit further away than it was.
Yeah.
That's the one Immortal with this army. Besides that, it's just these Gateway units and these Stargate units.
Okay, it's showtime. He's moving in.
Force fields.
2 queens isolated, 2 queens killed.
It's a good pickup there for Creator. Now coming in. Oh, doesn't get to isolate enough of these roaches. Does get another queen though, and that's going to make these oracles and Void Ray a little bit more effective here. About 8 or 9 more force fields in the bag. Stasis does go off. Creator now, it does feel like he might be running a little bit out of steam. Only a couple of force fields left.
Yeah.
Solar with a lot of production underway.
I mean, it's so far so good, but you're totally right. It's the number of force fields that are remaining here that is becoming alarming. I think that's the last one.
Yeah, there may be one left, but we'll have to see. Solar just continuing to swarm in. More production coming out.
This Immortal's pretty well placed. Another
Drone's
warp
being
in.
pulled.
He dives for the Immortal. Oh, sorry, the Warp Prism gets it.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a lot of trouble.
And I don't think he's got enough.
No, I don't think so
no matter
either.
what, I mean, he has to warp in from home, basically, so
yeah, I mean,
this is not going to work.
Once you run out of force fields with an army like this that doesn't have a lot of high-tech units, you're kind of out of steam. And I mean, the Warp Prism went down as well, so right now, Creator has, I think, exactly what you see here on screen. He has 4 sentries and a handful of stalkers. He's remaking an Immortal because he needs to survive.
Yeah.
And these Ravagers aren't going to have anti-air, but
this is where it tends to seesaw to the Zerg.
Yeah, there's not even a battery here. I mean, keep in mind, no Forge upgrades, no Robo Bay.
The same fight
no
that the Protoss lost over the Zerg space, they can lose at the Protoss is third. It's not really that different. And again, you're short on force fields. You're short on any kind of, heavy amount of Robo tag. And so I think that is the end of the story here for Creator at GSL for this year.
Yeah, Solar now coming in. I mean, this army's so big. Creator might be able to stabilize, but no, that's going to be a GG. And that's a tough loss there for Creator. I mean, he had a great start to the series in Game 1 and Game 2, but Game 3 just didn't go his way. A couple of missteps, and maybe there in Game 4, the frustration kind of showing through as Creator didn't play his best game and just opted for an all-in attack, and Solar was able to take it down.
Man. Well, the story of GSL continues to go on chapter by chapter, and this one, it ends sadly here for Creator. Did not get the results he wanted, did not perform in the game the way he needed to, as far as improvements go, and has not mastered his emotions in a way that, is going to behoove him in a tournament setting, unfortunately. So we're going to go to an interview now with Solar, see how he's feeling. He's our 3rd player to survive into the round of 8 for the GSL SuperTournament.
In the 3rd match of the Super Tournament round of 16, it is Solar coming out as the victorious player. Congratulations, thank you.
자, 슈퍼토너먼트 시즌 1 첫 번째 출발은 아주 좋았습니다.
So your Super Tournament season 1 start was very good, very nice. How do you feel right now?
하면서 이제 GSL 무대에서 현우를 만날 때마다
I mean, this year I lost to every match against Creator, but today being able to take my revenge against him, it feels really relieving. I mean, that's right. In a head-to-head record, you're up against him, but for this year, it was Creator defeating you most of the times this year. So what was it that changed the recent momentum?
올해 초에는 사실 장윤호 선수가 준비를 잘한 부분도
At the beginning of the year, creator made good preparation.
맞으면서 성장해
And as for Zerg, the race itself, you know, you evolve and you improve as you get smashed upon. That's the kind of race it is. Today, everything looked immaculate for you, Solar. And it feels like your ZVP performance is looking very good.
토스전이 솔직히 뭔가 대회할 때는 제일 편한 것 같고요.
I mean, I feel like ZVP match is the easiest for me on offline stage.
저는 굉장히
So
자신
apart
있다고
from Hero,
생각해서
I'm confident against every other pros player.
토스는 솔직히 딱히 다
So as long as it's not Hero, I don't really mind.
토스는 김준호를 빼면 거기서 거기인 것 같다.
Okay.
사실 8강 상대는 테란이 확정이고
The round of opponent will be a Terran no matter what. It will be GuMiho or Special. So who do you prefer to play
둘다
against?
게임을 너무 더럽게 해서
You know, both players they play a dirty game, so I don't really care who I go up against. So as long as I play well, I should be able to defeat either one of those two.
테란전 좀 요즘 어떤 입단 이후 조금 더 변화가 있는지.
So how's your ZVT going after you joined On-Site Gaming? After joining On-Site Gaming, I talked to the staff, I talked to the team owner, and the atmosphere is looking really good.
옛날에 카이지 있을 때보다 지금이 훨씬 성적이 더
And I
좋아서
feel like my results are way better than back when I was in Kaizi Gaming.
네, 테란전 말씀대로 기대가 되는 부분인데.
Well, we look forward to watching your ZVT match then, Solar.
아까 들으셨는지 모르겠는데.
I mean, ByuN was actually dissing you before in his interview. He said that he's not proud defeating you. He's not proud about defeating you, Solar, in the qualifiers.
애틀란타에서 24강에서 그냥 3대 0으로
I mean, ByuN
아무것도 못
in DreamHack Atlanta, he got wasted in the first match, so I think he's a little bit infuriated. So you know, if I go up against him in the Super Tournament, I should be easily able to defeat him.
자, 팬분들께 참 재미있는 강민주 선수였는데요.
So Solar, you've shown some beautiful performance today. So anything else you want to say to the fans?
그리고 저희 팀 응원해 주셔서 너무 감사하고요.
Well, I'm really thankful to the fans for supporting me and my team. I'll try to win in the round of 8 and try to make it to the round of 4. Once again, Solar, congratulations on your win today. Thank you. And that's it for the third match of tonight. And now we only have one match left. It's going to be GuMiho versus Special. It's going to be a TVT match, so please make sure you tune in.
It's almost like I missed you, but I can never let myself forget all my love you misused, so I won't play your games. It's almost like I missed you, but I can never let myself forget all my love you misused, so I won't play your games. And all the times I feel something, there's a voice in the back of my head telling me to keep running, 'cause all that you are is regret. And all the times I feel something, there's a voice in the back of my head telling me to keep running, 'cause all that you are is regret. No, I don't need your love, I don't need your touch, I don't need anything now. You gave up on us, now your time is up. I don't need anything now. I don't need your love, 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 I don't need your love. It's almost like I missed you, but I can never let myself forget all my love you misused, so I won't play your games. It's almost like I missed you, but I can never let myself forget all my love you misused, so I won't play your games. And all the times I feel something, there's a voice in the back of my head.
Things were alright under the stars. A castle of a shadow rewind. Can we go back in time? When things were alright under the stars. A castle of a wanderer shines. A night time of love. must be for me to share. Can we go back in time when things were alright under the stars? A castle of a shadow rewind. Can we go back? Under the stars. I'll be coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. I'll be coming up hot for a minute.
아침은 라떼, 홀릭 점심은 라떼, 홀릭 저녁엔 라떼, 홀릭 둥글하게 달콤하게 라떼 홀릭 달달한 충전이 필요할 땐 칸타타 라떼 홀릭
질성사이다 제로 그래 걱정 빼고 고민 빼고 망설임 빼고 This is zero life 없어도 되는 건 빼고 질성사이다 제로
상큼함 맥스 칼로리 X 맛있는 탐스 제로 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로 탐스 제로 같이 떠나볼래?
Okay, Phoenix, let's go. Open your eyes, open your heart. 핫섹스 넘어가면 another rebel. 밤이 일어나지도 피니스 불타 두 배로 난 지치지 않아 무게 올려 보스팅의 맛으로 보여 driver another rebel. 어제 쓰러져도 다시 높여내 시벨 칼로리 제로 뛰어 피곤한 날 리셋. 버핏 심장을 뛰게 해 이러니 버킷 리스트. 핫섹스 날 다시 깨우는 마법같이. 핫섹스 온몸에 그 강의 짜릿함이. 핫섹스 피닉스 마법같이. 핫섹스 핫섹스
2022 Hot 6 GSL Super Tournament Season 2.
We're back, everybody, and we're ready to go on into the final best of 5. If you're just now joining us, Creator has fallen, losing 1-3 against Solar. And now it's going to be a TVT, GuMiho versus Special.
Yeah, the foreign hope here at GSL Super Tournament. Special going to look to see if he can win this TVT and end a kind of rough stretch of games against GuMiho, as GuMiho has had his number so far in this year, but you know, TVT, a lot of things can happen.
It's a good matchup right now. I've had a lot of fun casting TVT this whole year. And look, I think GuMiho, he scores a little bit higher on versus Special. I don't think that means Special can't win the series, but I think it's less likely.
I think it's absolutely doable. I mean, GuMiho is, I think, 6-1 in games against Special in the last 6 months, so he has a winning record, but GuMiho did get 3-0'd by Hero Marine at DreamHack, so that was the TVT loss that he had to another foreign player. I don't know if Special talked to Hero Marine about that in preparation for this, but I'm sure that he watched the games.
Right.
And maybe, I mean, he can see that and he can kind of find some weaknesses in GuMiho's gameplay that he might be able to exploit here in this series. Maybe there's a little bit of mind games that can come in, but yeah, these guys, both players, kind of similar play styles, both kind of like some quirky builds, both kind of like to play with mech a little bit.
Yeah, both a little bit more inclined to mech. Both very active in the matchup. They, you know, certainly like to drop a lot in the early game and early mid game. So I think this could be one of the more explosive TVTs here. I do welcome a kind of dramatic, drawn-out TVT, but let's see how this goes. It does seem like TVT is, you know, with both races, well, both players having such a brittle race at moments in the game. At this, you know, it's such a glass cannony race, Terran is.
Yeah.
That it seems like people are very good at kill moves nowadays.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I'm like blind and like trying to make my way through a forest when I'm casting TVT at moments, especially if you watch like the best players in the world. Like if you see Maru do it, some of the moves like they don't really make sense until they do.
This was me when I first came out to Korea in Brood War, because I came from just the Protoss focus, and then it's like, all right, well here's the TVZ, and you're like, oh boy, all right, let's see what I know about this.
Yeah, but
it'll get better as time passes.
I think it'll be a really fun series.
Yeah,
I'm excited for this one. I'm hoping that Special gives us a good show. I mean, we've had a lot of really kind of one-sided series. Even Creator like versus Solar, that was a pretty close series up there until the end, and that was even a 3-1.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind this one going the distance. I wouldn't mind seeing some longer games.
Yeah, I think otherwise it's going to be, I think, a surprisingly short day here for Super Tournament, to say the least. Waterfall is going to be the map to start things off. This is GuMiho versus Special. Special, the only non-Korean player here in the GSL Super Tournament. If he loses, it's only you and me left, State, for the foreigners in this event.
We're not going to win it.
We're not going to win it. We never do. Guys, game one starts now here. GuMiho versus Special. Let's go.
Game start. Terran, GuMiho. Terran, Special.
I really like the little player intros we have this season.
Yeah.
It's cool. The graphic design is pretty cool for this one.
Yeah,
you zoom in on like the command center of the Nexus, and like you get like the silhouette, and it perfectly matches up. And oh my goodness, GuMiho!
Gonna zoom in on that barracks, put a little silhouette over that. This is GuMiho,
Terran,
right? I had to do a double check of who's what color. Okay,
that's
so
GuMiho
with a that's the second SCV sent out here, right?
Oh, come all the way from Canada,
Vancouver.
Thank you for
Some
coming
NA
down.
support here.
Yeah, I think I might have said that was Special doing the proxy, but yeah, it's GuMiho. I also had to do a double take, not used to the colors yet.
So, I mean, what can be done here with this? I mean, Special's going to go for the quick gas now. Both the Raxes are going to finish up, and I assume there's going to be Reapers coming out here. He's got gas and everything like that. So, rushes like this, you got to watch the first couple units of Special very carefully.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that can snowball very quickly and spiral out of control.
Because if the Reapers start to get 1 or 2 kills, then it just sort of it begins to pile on, and things can get really bad. Now, we almost never have anybody die outright, but you know, this is one of those moments where you need to kind of, like, out of all the things you're thinking about right now with Special, you also have to be thinking Reapers could come in my base right now. That has to be just sort of in the back of your head, and you need to be ready for that moment when it comes.
Yeah, and seeing the way this barracks is rallied, I'm wondering if Special's going to be able to scout this right away. Because GuMiho, you might want to pull a couple of Reapers before he comes in. Oh, I think Special might have spotted him. Yeah, he knows.
Yeah,
he saw him on the low ground, so Special has a very good idea of what's going on now. Pulling 5 SCVs as well as his Reaper. And he's going to try and isolate each one of these.
Well, they get in, and they're going to try to isolate that Reaper!
Oh!
And he could maybe just... Oh, he's going to have to chase it out.
The third one, though, is going to pop for the barracks.
Oh!
Oh, no.
That's huge. Special, I think, probably had the most doable position from there. Now, he's going to let this Reaper heal up. Now, again, the first one was shot down. The second Reaper now is out here for Special. You know, it's funny. Reapers heal fast, but it feels like it takes forever if you're the rusher right now as GuMiho.
I think once he gets this Marine and Hellion out, with these SCVs, you should be able to stabilize. It's a nice grenade. Some of these SCVs very low on HP here, but Special feeling confident he's going to be able to defend. No bunker going down, just throwing down the command center. As he's going to try his best to stabilize here. But it is a very scary position, especially now with only a handful of SCVs pulled. 2 Marines, 2 Hellions, and 1 Reaper.
So now he goes for more of a contained position here. Now, even if Special has enough to get out, you need to be wary about the grenades, because that can kind of cause some mix-ups.
Yeah, but behind this, I mean, GuMiho only just now going for that command center, and hold that thought as the Reapers come in. GuMiho takes off a couple of SCVs here to start things out. Grenades going down as well. This is a great engagement here for GuMiho. He picks up the Marines as well.
He does
6 SCVs.
Pushes away the Reaper. Another Reaper comes up.
That was an insane amount of damage, and most of the Reapers even get away.
Yeah, that was pretty insane when you consider the fact that usually, you know, after the first couple Reapers come out, if they've secured their base, they're not going to take that much damage. CC is being built over here, along with the Cyclone back at home right now for GuMiho. You know, I got to say, I really like this position for GuMiho. He's ahead in workers. His command center is going to be soaking up minerals earlier. He's got a Cyclone, which is sort of a catch-all defensively.
Yeah, it kind of feels like he got everything that he wanted out of that early game rush. Those Reapers picked off a ton of SCV's kills, and not only the workers, but he also killed a handful of Marines. He got a Reaper as well, so Special really on the back foot now. Gonna try and secure that expansion as GuMiho powering up back at home, going for a second Cyclone, adding into Starport and these barracks landing. We'll be starting these add-ons, and a very fast third gas here for GuMiho as well. Special now, landing his command center there at the natural.
This is such a tough start. And he does have some better tech, like the Raven's going to be out soon. The thing is, I don't think with that Raven, I don't think there's a lot you can do to kind of come in here and poke and prod at GuMiho.
I don't think so either, especially with 2 Cyclones out. They should be pretty good at zoning away any air units to try and come in. And GuMiho feeling really confident in his position, going to try and compound this economic advantage he has. Go for a third command center in the meantime. These 2 Cyclones, and Reaper's going to move out on the map. And what does Special have at home to deal with this?
Well, oh man, talk about just leaving it the last possible second there. Okay, well, you know what? That was actually shut down pretty nicely.
See you later, Reapers.
Not that the Reapers have a lot of utility later on, but
yeah.
you know, I think he wanted to use the Cyclones to try to pick up and pick up a kill on the Raven, but didn't quite happen here.
That's a nice micro from GuMiho, actually picking up 2 Hellions there, so that trait getting a little bit better.
You think about Disruptors and War Prisms, but a lot of times in Medevac with some Cyclones, the stuff you can get done with that is crazy.
Especially against Cyclones because it cancels the lock-on.
Yeah.
So, some nice control there from GuMiho as he makes that unfavorable exchange a little bit less painful. And yeah, both players going for 3 command centers. I think GuMiho also throwing down 2 engineering bays, so he is going full power mode right now back at home.
Double eBay here for GuMiho. And about a 5-worker lead. A little bit less, actually. Stim has gone about halfway here from GuMiho. I'm sorry, we never got Stim right now for Special, right?
I was just thinking the same thing. I don't think that we have it.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
But there's a barracks for the tech lab, isn't there?
Maybe we missed it. I could
no,
be wrong.
We might have missed it. I'm sure we'll get an idea of this pretty soon.
No, it just started.
Wow.
Just started.
Okay. I feel like that's a blunder. I mean, it's very late, isn't it?
I think he was very strapped to defend, right? And so I think getting an upgrade early on might have been a little bit like, you know, you're not really respecting the frankly bad position that you're in.
That's possible. Ooh, nice scan there from Special. Gonna be able to pick off that Cyclone and also see the army moving across the map, so he knows what he's trying to deal with right now. And looking at the army composition, Special should have air control, but GuMiho has the superior position here in front of the natural expansion. He might be able to set up a contain even with these Vikings.
Yeah, and I think the tanks can keep anything on the ground from sliding up into this third base that Special wants to take. Sometimes that's all you need. I think the Ravens may come in here with an auto turret. He has to figure out what he wants to do. Unsieging can be dangerous too because they're vulnerable, but the Raven's not there, so he can reconfigure.
I mean, eventually GuMiho is going to have to forfeit this position, right, because of the air control for Special.
It's possible. It's possible.
I mean, he can't get vision for the full range. That's why he continues to scan.
He just doesn't want SCVs to be transferred there.
Yeah.
I suppose I guess he just moves the CC back anyways. It's just kind of like it's him taking his lead and kind of saying, yeah, you're not going to expand before me.
Gotcha.
We're not going to play even.
Yeah, it does certainly feel that way. I mean, he's had his third mining base fully saturated for, what, like 30 seconds now? So that's a lot of extra minerals. You can see it right there on the bottom.
Yeah.
2,400 minerals per minute for GuMiho to the 1,800 for Special.
Yeah, really the numbers at the bottom of the screen tell the real story of you know, this race that has been sort of neck and neck, but GuMiho is slowly pedaling ahead. And by the way, 1-1's going to finish. I don't think this would queue up a bus, but let's see. I don't want to count it out. The problem with doing what GuMiho is doing is that eventually, if they do take a fight, like you said, with the air superiority, it can backfire and you don't have that much.
It's actually a kind of,
that
GuMiho
was
comes
actually
in.
so good by him.
Wow, nice.
He ran in between when the unsiege was happening, forced a siege again, and killed the tank. That's huge.
Yeah, and he scans again, and he's going to see that there's no Marines here with this army. GuMiho, or Special, excuse me, right now trying to set up a flank over here on the other side, but GuMiho with a lot of Marines reinforcing should be able to deal with this, I think, quite well. I almost want Special to kind of move across the map and try and pressure that third base a little bit.
And so he's going to try to, oh no, I'm sorry, he's going to drop the main. I thought he was going to try to intercept reinforcements. That would also be acceptable. Now the problem is when you see this attack come up here, the GuMiho, in this case, may be tempted to dive into the natural. And by the way, there's like just enough here. I don't feel like this drop from Special can really do anything. Oh!
That was a lot of good damage up until he lost the medevac. 10 supply of units down the drain. I mean, he did get 6 SCVs, which equalized things economically just a little bit, but Special, he has to get out of his base. I mean, GuMiho just took this position here at the bottom of the ramp and never left it. Special pulling SCVs to try and break this. He knows that there are Marines back at home. The Ravens come in. They disable every single siege tank, and GuMiho just going to forfeit the spot. Sieging up right here behind this bridge. Marines coming in, take down one more siege tank. But GuMiho's supply right now 143 to 110. It feels like he's in complete control.
Yeah, and he basically stepped back. Keep in mind, SCVs were killed off there, right? So he broke open the position, but at the cost of some of his workers. And now he needs to try to get something that's going to, help him out here by moving out on this side of the map. And you can see the blocking from GuMiho has been very good. He's basically not allowing anything to cross through this river that cuts the map in half.
Now, GuMiho is playing this very well positionally. The only thing that Special really has in his favor right now is the air superiority, and he's going to use this information to try and pounce on this tank. Does get one pick off before he has to go back. Vikings get a medevac as well. And Special's really going to have to leverage that Viking count if he's going to be able to make something happen here.
Yeah, and he's just kind of shutting them down at every turn. The fourth base at 12 o'clock is, looks like it's already got gas taken at it. Oh, I guess it's got SCVs being transferred to it soon.
Just now taking the gases, and I love this sensor tower here for GuMiho. He has complete information. He knows that Special's coming up over here in this position, and GuMiho takes a pretty good fight. Able to take a siege tank, although he does lose a lot of Marines to do it. Special takes down a tank as well, but GuMiho's army supply is so huge right now. And keep in mind, like Special, a lot of his army supply, it's in the air. It's in 5 Vikings. It's not in units that can fight on the ground.
And I worry now that the counter punch is going to be too much, because look at this. GuMiho's going to slide right past him. GuMiho, Special maybe caught up in trying to catch these stray tanks. Now has a naked third CC here that will 100% be killed off.
Yeah, it just gets melted by these Marines. And
there's actually quite a bit back at home here for GuMiho.
Yeah, GuMiho just fragmented off enough army to make a huge problem there for Special, and also defend back on here at home. And look, the air army for Special just completely wiped out. Only this small force on the ground remaining. GuMiho even coming in from the back with a medevac, hitting from the top, hitting from the high ground from the bottom. Just a masterclass right there, man. He took that natural expansion, put him in contain, and Special never broke out.
It was pretty sick, man. GuMiho looked very, very good. Interesting opener. GuMiho at about 10 to 50% ahead, I'd say, most of the game. I think Special was in a tough spot. I don't blame him for doing the SCV pull to try to get out. I mean, desperate times require desperate measures, but GuMiho basically kind of stayed ahead, zoned him very well, and Special wasn't able to do what he needed to do, and so that's it. That's game one. But again, a long series ahead, I would say. And Special not looking bad at all. Some of that did come down to those Reapers killing off enough SCVs early on.
Yeah, it felt like the Reapers snowballed the game a little bit early. I mean, that was, what, 5 or 6 SCVs that went down in the early game. And it's very tough to come back from that, especially in a mirror matchup. Workers are so critical as Tropical Sacrifice set number 2 is loading up right now. The game is ready. GuMiho up 1-0.
Are you ready?
I think I am.
I'm ready. All right, let's go.
Game start.
Because game start. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Terran, GuMiho.
Like on the monitors, we could see them loading into the game, and I feel like I'm so bad at timing the transition.
Here's the trick: is you don't look at the monitor, you listen to Caster Park.
Ah.
Because when he's done,
Special.
then they switch in.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's my trick.
It's a trade
I'm like
secret.
one of those magicians. I'm slowly going to give away all my tricks here. You could buy my book for $15 and learn all the caster tricks.
Oh my goodness, GuMiho's doing it again.
What? Oh yeah, he is. Look
All
at that.
right. We might just have a really fast day, Tasteless.
Yeah, can't win them all. I was kind of expecting us to be here until at least 10.
Well, I mean, Special last game, like, keep in mind that he did get kind of caught out of position. Not in the initial attack with the Reapers, because he did spot them on the low ground before they came in.
It was the 7 from the bottom.
The 7 from the bottom came in, and GuMiho kind of had his army protecting the top side of his base and the natural ramp, and didn't expect GuMiho to come in basically where the mineral line is, and he has to pull SCVs to try and deal with it. But at that point, the Reapers just start two-shotting him or one-shotting him, and from that position, like, SCVs just drop like flies. It snowballs very quickly.
Yeah. Now, I don't think that. I mean, this game can't be exactly the same thing that happened in the last game, right?
Yeah.
There's no way. So, let's see if Special's caught off guard. Also, I don't know about you, but whenever I see something like this, like the same rush again, I'm like, oh, the disrespect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I kind of get that vibe a little bit.
This is a little bit different than a lot of other rushes. Like, this is sort of a kind of a rug pull strat.
I love Special coming out here with the SCV, man.
Oh.
GuMiho getting the better of that trade.
Gonna get intercepted.
Such a quirky little dance.
But he's setting this Reaper across. Now.
Oh, I like that move. Yeah, that's a Special Reaper. I was wondering why GuMiho was going back for a second. This is going to open him up to this pressure right here, though.
Now
SCVs are pulled.
The Marine can't heal, the Reaper can. Well, I mean, it can't heal now. So, you know, these Reapers, the damage can become pretty immense. And once the Marine's dead, it's gone, like they can see here.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I don't know about sending that Reaper across map. I wonder how much damage Special's really getting done.
Well, the problem is you got a micro on two fronts, and there's just more kind of room to fudge with here for GuMiho.
Yeah, and also, I mean, for GuMiho, when he's trying to defend back at home, like, you're just kind of putting the SCVs on the Reaper and forgetting about it, right?
Yeah,
as they're waiting for more units to come out.
There's not a lot of tricks with the SCV over there.
Yeah, this is snowballing really hard right here. GuMiho coming in once again. Is going to get the Hellion.
God.
Oh, it's 1 HP.
Oh, my God, it's so low. And one just no-scopes him. And he's going to move this other Reaper back, the one that's injured.
So many SCVs going down right now, and this Reaper micro here from GuMiho is fantastic. Just one Hellion left yet again as four Reapers are coming in.
Dude, massive plays here.
Yeah.
I can't talk, sorry.
GuMiho
Massive plays,
microwave.
guys. Hi, I cast escape relief. The Reaper's back. It's 21 SCVs to 17 SCVs. Special down.
I actually can't believe that GuMiho never sent a Reaper back to deal with this. I mean, Special's getting a lot of damage done as well. This is such a scrappy game.
Now, this little area between the factory and the barracks, it's really abusable with grenades.
Yeah, oh, that's a perfect grenade right there. Hits pretty much every military unit there for Special. Is GuMiho going to try and get as much damage as he does, but Special, even I can't speak now.
It's a hard one to follow, man. Okay, so 21 SCVs to 18 SCVs. Add-on being recreated. Or I guess being created, wasn't killed off. What am I saying?
Yeah.
But a lot of the infrastructure now in the middle of the map here for GuMiho, right? He's going to use one barracks to scout while he starts a command center back at home. Do the Hellions have any kind of counterplay here? I'm not sure.
Yeah, what does GuMiho have back at home? He has, I guess, 2 Hellions and two Reapers. Okay, yeah, you can hold this off, I think.
This is fine.
Oh, man. I feel like I need a breather after that opening.
That was a lot.
Like, oh, my brain is like fried. Like, this is like the last series of the day. So, like, this is like game one, I'm all right, but...
And he's going to get this last one. Okay, now hold on. Is there now another opportunity to attack here from GuMiho? Because, like...
Yeah, the pendulum swings.
Yeah, and he made an add-on there, right? So there wasn't that much being made. Now, it's one Cyclone, so you never want to count that out. That's always kind of a catch-all.
One Cyclone, one Hellion, and 3 Marines here for Special as GuMiho's going to try and come in again. Gets a lot of damage here on this Hellion. Hellion gets taken down. The nades are fantastic. Cyclone does get 1 Reaper for its trouble. Is GuMiho going to, or Special, excuse me, going to try and scramble here on the defense.
Bagfield being upgraded over here. in Special's base. I almost said it was GuMiho because it's GuMiho and it's that upgrade where I'm like, well, I know you like that.
It's the GuMiho upgrade.
Yeah, of course you'd get that GuMiho. Oh, sorry, it's Special. So he's going to keep making Cyclones. And it does feel like in TVT there are these moments where actually the Cyclone is the only logical move because things are getting, so scrappy.
The Cyclone is very good at controlling early chaos.
Yeah.
It's what the unit excels at. And that's kind of why in a normal game, the Cyclone comes out and the game just kind of quiets down up until siege tanks and medevacs are on the field. But
I like the way that you said that. It definitely quiets the game down. But with a drop coming in here, things could actually heat up even more. Because what he knows is that on the other side of the map, there's going to be Cyclones there for GuMiho. And so he's going to come in and basically try to start to pick up kills here and see if he can snowball this in the other way.
Yeah, and if he's able to take out the Cyclone of GuMiho, he's going to have a lot more freedom to roam. And with Magfield, he should go down pretty quickly, right? So we'll see what Special is able to get done here. Medevac now coming into the main base. He has the barracks to scout, so he knows this position is completely vacant. And oh man, he's locking on the Cloak Banshee upgrade. Oh, that goes down so fast.
Yeah, and he gets the other Cyclone without even needing to target on it. That barracks is quite a nuisance there when he landed that near the entrance.
Yeah, another Cyclone goes down there for GuMiho, but he will be able to clean this up, so not the end of the world. Man, I feel like I'm getting whiplash casting this.
It's intense, man. This is a real back and forth. Tanks and a Raven coming out now here for Special. Special, as different as the action has been in this game, we're kind of in the same spot as before. It's GuMiho with a pretty steady lead here.
Yeah, GuMiho.
About a 5-worker lead.
Yeah, 5-worker lead. Faster third command center, I think. We'll have to check the production on that. Yeah, just a little bit faster. And already starting his barracks transition. There's 3 barracks going down. Another one's going to land and set up a tech lab. I'm starting to like this position for GuMiho a lot, but man, I keep wondering like what the game state is because there's been so many skirmishes that I don't really know what anybody has at home. And Special right now, he has Magfield on the Cyclone, and he has a Raven. So these two Banshees, they shouldn't get too much done, right?
I think so. I mean, it just depends on what kind of position he's going to be in back at home. It looks like he's going to be leaving right now, in which case this could end up with a real opening, a real opportunity to come in there and do some damage. The third CC is about to land.
I think Special's going mech. Kind of a mech against ByuN game.
Yeah, you're right. He basically got those mech upgrades harassed, and then he just stayed on it. Now, if you're going to go mech, and you're going to get your third base before the other guy, and he's going ByuN, I do feel like this is kind of dangerous, right?
Yeah, but if it pays off, it could be a really good position for Special.
True.
I mean,
I just feel like when you see a guy on 3 bases, like, I mean, how many tanks do you realistically have to hold off just a wave of infantry?
Yeah, it's almost like he's going battle mech right now. I think he's going up to 4 Cyclones before starting siege tank production yet again. Now double siege tank production coming in from Special. In the meantime, GuMiho back at home, just powering up now with all of these barracks. But keep in mind, I mean, Stimpak is only halfway done, so there isn't much of a window for GuMiho to really get a lot of damage in just yet. And by the time he does, Special might have a pretty healthy siege tank count. And I love this play by GuMiho. He waits until Special's all the way across the map. He sees the army, and now the Banshees come in, already picking off 3, 4, 5 SCVs.
And, I mean, again, it's like he's never going to catch up to this 5 or more worker deficit. And, this is just a lot. I mean, looks like, what, Auto-Tur going to come down here?
It's got to be, right?
So he outruns the Cyclone. God, the range on that is just hilarious sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of unintuitive because most of the time you see it, it's kind of constricted by vision in most interactions. So when you actually have the full vision to like use the full Cyclone range, it's like, wow,
it's insane.
Yeah.
But look at this, 1-1's going to finish, and this is where I want to see if, Special maybe bit off more than he could chew, because I just can't imagine with a third base and the fact that the factories are only just now starting to produce, couldn't you like either be broken at your entrance or even worse, dropped in your main?
Yeah, Special's going to be sailing some rough waters these next couple of minutes, and I really feel like the entire game will come down to how well he's able to kind of manage the attacks that are going to be inevitably coming out of GuMiho. Now the first drop coming in the main, the Cyclone actually going all the way back to the natural expansion a little bit late here, but he will be able to clean this up.
Okay, so these Marines are going to get wiped out, no problem.
That's a lot of units here for Special top side, but oh, the battle mech with a scan maybe gets one siege tank.
Sort of a funny looking game now. Are there no medevacs with that army down at the bottom?
I don't think so, because on the units tab we only had 2 medevacs out for GuMiho, and you see the drop there on the 3rd base. So yeah, both of these coming out.
So he has no way to pick up anything. I for some reason thought he had at least 4 medevacs when that push came out. I thought he would just pick up and go in the main.
In a normal game he would, but remember he made those Banshees.
Right.
So the starport was a little bit slower in making those medevacs, but yeah, medevacs right now are really critical for GuMiho. He really needs to increase that count because that's kind of how you set up the multi-prong attacks as the bio player. And right now, Special's doing a great job of catching these. Look at that.
Dude, another big shutdown. Now, Special wants to try to drag this game out a little bit. It's going to take him a little bit longer to get the kind of mech that he needs. By the way, a lot of kills on these SUVs. Again, just kind of keeping Special down.
I would love to see just one Cyclone patrolling over here in the main base for like the rest of the game, basically. Because these drops, I mean, even though we caught that first medevac, this is still a ton of damage. 14 SCVs.
Okay, this is, becoming a little bit shocking. Because, like, he was ready to fight that, but, eventually you want to either you have enough SCVs that you can.
This Marauder is still up, man.
Yeah, you have enough SCVs that you go, okay, I'm going to just win this outright, but instead what's happening is, like, I don't even think he's watching, actually, like, everything is being killed off, this fight's still happening. Now he cracks up with his position, takes are unsieged. It gets worse and worse here for Special.
Yeah, kind of a domino effect right now with Special just failing to handle that drop at the top, and GuMiho sets up a fantastic position with the natural ramp and just closes out that game as GuMiho's leading now 2-0. Man, I feel like Special was just like kind of juggling everything perfectly until he wasn't. And that one medevac there in the main base, I don't know if Special thought that like he pulled enough that he could just A-move and it's going to kind of clear up on its own, but that's not what happened.
No. Are we going to have 2 more Raxes again?
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's been working.
Very exciting early game, by the way.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was tough to keep up with.
It was pretty wild, man.
Like, I feel like I can't kind of translate what's happening. I feel we got to like fly Eminem out from like America to like rap battle and commentate
the
these
rap battle
TVTs.
caster come out here.
Like I'm not, my brain doesn't work fast enough anymore, man. Like I'm getting older.
Wait until you get to my age. It's all downhill. Guys, game 3 is going to be on Inside and Out. GuMiho versus Special here. In what is looking like dire straits right now for Special. He's not playing bad, but he just isn't able to really hang with GuMiho. Let's see if this is going to be his redemption arc or the end of day 1 of the GSL SuperTournament with a 3-0 for GuMiho.
Terra, GuMiho. Terra, Special.
All right, so no proxy T-Rex coming out of GuMiho this time. Instead, it's going to be a gas first opening. Barracks in the main.
Yeah, a little bit tucked away from the ramp.
Yeah, what do you make of that? Is this
I think a lot of times, you scout, and if you see the depot somewhere and then there's not the racks there, you might immediately be tricked, even for a second, into thinking that it's somewhere else.
Especially
like
after
racks.
Especially after 2 games of getting.
After 2 games, yeah. So I think it's a pairing build for the first 2 games, because and we've seen a lot of people do this. Okay, if you're going to scout for a proxy, do you scout the whole map, or do you just scout their main?
Yeah, there's 2 different philosophies there because it's got the main base. You know what isn't there.
Yeah, okay, well this, and unless they did the rare play of like making it just outside their main or something like that, and this is one where it's like maybe he just goes up and he starts to overreact, and I mean let's see what the pathing is for the SCV, because let's see if it works out the way he wants it to.
Well, he's going to see the
never mind.
that are going
right, so this is.
I mean, if Special had moved his SCV cross map immediately.
Yeah, he would have came in there and been like, oh no.
All right. Factory now coming down for GuMiho.
And this is a defensive Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
We have Reapers being made back at home for Special as well.
Much of a slower start here. I needed this after the last game.
I know. Okay.
Oh, here we go again. I'm getting deja vu.
It's a glitch in the Matrix. So he gets that SCV. It's already a bad start here for Special.
This is an interesting
This is like a very bad duel where GuMiho just comes out on top.
Yeah, I know that GuMiho comes out on top, but I don't really understand like the mechanism of what happened there. Like, did he just have like one less SCV hit on his Reaper?
It's
or
either I think the SCV gets an extra hit or the Reaper gets an extra hit. And so
it's such a interesting unit interaction.
I know, right? Although I feel like the correct play back then would have been to just run. Now, he's going to keep pursuing this. But, you know, we're starting to see in all these games, Special sort of lose these small fights early on.
Yeah, it feels like every single Reaper skirmish, GuMiho has come out ahead. And in game one, it was not only the initial attack, which got like, I think maybe one Reaper and like an SCV, but the follow-up, they got a ton of SCVs. And then in game two, it felt like with the exception of the Reaper that went cross-map to GuMiho's base, GuMiho was just in complete control of the early game right there. Got so much damage done with his Reapers. And now, once again, in game three, already Reaper up. And I mean, that kind of advantage early on in one player's favor so consistently is difficult to overcome.
This is really bad.
I'm really surprised that Special opted to go up that ramp after losing his first Reaper, right? I mean, like, he's going to have the same units, isn't he?
You're 100% right. It's like, why would you ever go forward, right, if you knew you're going to have less, right? Like, a lot of times if you have it back and forth and then you lose the fight, you go, that's it. I got to stay back until I have a reason to justify myself going back out.
Maybe he was trying to catch GuMiho playing a little bit more greedy, but instead he's going to get another unfavorable trade as these things, although they are small, they do tend to add up. And I mean, it gives GuMiho the freedom to do this. He's going to get scouting information. He gets a worker, which, although small, is a lot of value. And oh man, the Reaper's lined up there, and then naturally gets both. There's 3 Hellions.
This might be the worst start out of all 3 of the games, to be honest.
Oh, it's a disaster.
And he's not really pulling SCVs away like he needs to. You know what I mean?
Reaper comes in the main base, gets another SCV.
And again, these Reapers, they don't have any value later on. So if you could actually trade them out for SCVs, that's really good.
It just feels like GuMiho is so on top of these early game battles.
Yeah, well, he's playing actually like so well today. It's kind of crazy. You know, when he came back, I was really wondering, like, you know, where's he going to be at? Because some of these guys come back and it's like, yeah, it's cool, you can hang, you know. And then other guys come back and I'm like, oh, you might actually win a GSL. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag in terms of players coming back from retirement or from a military service.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting to see who's able to make it work in the new meta and who isn't. I mean, like, Hero came back in like a year. He was already one of the top Protoss players in Korea.
Yeah, Hero looked like he never left. Hero
Exactly.
looked like he was training in secret and just came out for this moment.
He's the best Protoss player in the world now. GuMiho, since he's come back, has been playing fantastically, and that continues now as this Banshee coming into the main base. Oh, there's another one of the natural. That's
taps
it.
out. GG. Special goes down in a rough series.
Yeah, it feels like GuMiho with just tactical victory after tactical victory.
Yeah.
Able
Well, that
to
was even
translate
smart. At the
those.
very end, and just wait. He pockets the Banshees, realizing, you know, okay, you're going to be looking for some kind of damage. And so that's what he does. He comes in there, closes that out. A lot of drama today, man. You know?
Yeah, a lot of drama, a lot of kind of one-sided series. I mean, we had 2 3-0s and 2 3-1s.
It's hard to top the one-sidedness today, to be honest, guys. I don't think we're going to have the same thing on Thursday. But that's it for day 1 of our 4-day event.
Well, this is 3 3-0s and a 3-1, right? Man.
3 3-0s and a 3-1, that's right. Although I do think that Maru and Classic was not, I mean, you know, Maru's so good. I don't think Classic played poorly. I don't even think Creator played that poorly for, you know, a lot of the series back there either. Special had a rough run though.
GuMiho takes down Special in the last match of the first day of the Super Tournament. Congratulations. Thank you.
자, 지난 GSL 시즌 3에서
In GSL Season 3, you were able to make it to the round of 4 after 5 years, and in that process, there were so many heartwarming moments for you. And then riding on the momentum, you're now able to move on to round of 8 with the Super Tournament. How do you feel? Well, after making it to the round of 4, my momentum actually got slowed down. In Atlanta, I got eliminated pretty quickly. In Home Story Cup, the results were disappointing. And I had a feeling that my hands weren't moving as I wanted them to. But today, my micro was pretty good on the stage. So, you know, for micro, it's pretty random these days.
자, 오늘 경기 시작을 전진 이병용 사진 러시로 이렇게 풀어 나가셨는데
And then you started off the first game with the 2-Rex proxy. So what was that about? Well, specials builds are very unorthodox, so it's really hard to cope with. So I did use a 2-Rex to not make him feel safe going for the strategy he normally would use. And then you were able to grab 21 SCVs from special. A 3-0 score. Did you predict this one? No, not really. I mean, I've been losing. I've been on a losing streak these days. I'm lacking confidence. So whether I lose or not, whether I win or lose, I feel like I have a lot of hesitation in my plays. And you know, I did try my best though today. I mean, last season we got to see that emotional reverse sweep from you, GuMiho, over DRG. And then it was a close match against Ragnarok in the round of 4, although you did lose that one. So how's the TVZ for you these days? As for TVZ, it's really fascinating. You know, sometimes I play really well in a TVZ, and then sometimes I play so badly. But these days, I'm playing really badly in the TVZ. So I'm really scared if I have to go up against Solar in the round of 8. I mean, Solar, I talked to him before, and then he was full of confidence in his interview. And then he said that he's going to defeat one of the 2 Terran players that he'll be facing in the round of 8. Then for you, GuMiho. GuMiho, I mean, Solar did compliment you on your play. He said that you play dirty. So that's a big compliment. I mean, I wouldn't be sad if Sora was like really exceptionally good that I couldn't defeat him. But it's always been a close match against him, and I always slipped by a small gap. So now that I have 1 week of preparation, I'm gonna have to make Sora preparation and try to defeat him in the round of 8. GuMiho, you taped your hands right now. You taped your wrists. So what's that about? I mean, these days my wrists and moreover my fingers hurt a lot. So I'm taping them. You know, from some point, you know, my fingers started hurting, and then my wrist, and then like all the other body parts. So I'm trying to tape to pull up my performance these days. Well, I hope you recover quickly, GuMiho. I mean, GuMiho, you're yielding good results since you're trying so hard these days. So anything else you want to say? I mean, recently I made it to the round of 4, and the fans have a lot of expectations on me. And I've been showing some disappointing results these days, so I'm really feeling sorry in that regard. But for this Super Tournament, I'll try to get good results, better results, and try to show a better performance than before. GuMiho, once again, congratulations on your win today. Thank you. And that's a wrap for the last match of the GSL Super Tournament, Day 1.
Let's just have Andy close out the entire show. No, keep going, man. Excellent work, Andy, as always. This was a fun day. I wish it was a little bit closer, but you know, you're weeding out the weaker players only to have better games later on.
Yeah, I kind of feel like everyone that advanced today just straight up played a lot better. You know, there's a couple of mismatches like Maru Classic, ByuN Armani. I mean, Classic, I feel like he played well. I'm excited to see, you know, what he brings to the table next year. But Maru, just best Terran player in the world, maybe best player in the world, who knows? And I think Thursday is going to be a lot more competitive.
Yeah, it better be, right? I mean, Hero Bunny's going to be a lot of fun. DRG Ryung, let's see how Ryung plays. Sometimes he's pretty good. DRG has looked pretty solid. Dark versus Su, you cannot go wrong with that. Dark looking so strong, but you never know with Su, man. He can take on, especially in ZVZ, pretty much anybody. And then Ragnarok versus Cure, that's going to be a great one as well.
Yeah, Thursday is going to be a lot of fun.
By the way, guys, this show, every day of this show starts 5 p.m. KST. So if you're somebody who wants to come either in the studio or you want to tune in live, and do not be mistaken, this is not the time that a normal GSL CodeS is on. It's the same day, but it's an hour and a half earlier. Same studio that we do GSL CodeS in as well.
Yeah, I mean, 4 best of 5s in a day. Need to start a little bit earlier in case things go down to the wire.
That's the funny thing. Let's see, what time is it now? It's 8:30 p.m. So this is about as early as we could have ended, but a lot of times it goes to like 10:30, 11. So we want to make sure the staff here has time to take the train home. It closes at midnight, so yeah.
Was a lot of fun though. I mean, I enjoyed the games, especially like Game 1 and Game 2 from Creator versus Solar were so much fun.
You know, it's going to be an interesting 2023 to see, if Creator can kind of defeat his demons, because it seemed like he did it for the middle of this year. It seemed like he really had that kind of calm that you have to come out and really play with the very, very best, but then it's like he got pulled back in after not winning, not succeeding, I should say, in Season 3, but also ultimately losing in the finals of Season 2.
I think he has high expectations for himself, and it's frustrating for him when he loses, as it is for all of us, but yeah, hopefully we'll see more from him next year, and hopefully he will be able to, overcome those demons, as you said, because this is like a player that has the potential to be the second best Protoss player in the world easily,
Absolutely.
in my opinion.
And
he's so good.
Honestly, some of the strats he's doing are so good.
Yeah, they're fun to watch.
Like
they're cool. They work.
Game 1 strat, I'm like, this is insane. This is so, like, 5 layers deep, like Inception or whatever. Like, how deep in the dream can you go to trick him into behaving a certain way to then ultimately close it out and win the game? But yeah, man. I mean, you got to be able to lose some of the games on the way to winning and not let that destroy you.
Yeah, especially when you go for a composition like that Sky Toss one. I mean, like one thing goes wrong with that play style and you're dead. That's just the way the game works when you play Sky
you
Toss.
have a Jenga army at that point in time. Like you lose a couple of those pieces at the bottom come out, the whole thing's going to go down.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
Thank you.
Nice.
Excellent work today. Good to be
Thank
with you again here. Artosis, if you're watching, we love you. We hope you're doing well in Canada. And I look forward to doing the rest of this season, man.
Yeah.
The last StarCraft 2 season, last StarCraft 2 worked for me for the whole year.
Yeah, I feel like it's only going to get better from here, too. I mean, Thursday matches, Hero versus ByuN to start things out is going to be a treat.
Oh, yeah. And I think, we did have some kind of mismatches here for the round of 16, but this happens sometimes early on in tournaments. And, with Classic, I wish he could have maybe faced off against somebody besides Maru, but ultimately somebody has to face off against Maru.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he played pretty well. Like, I do think that a lot of these players that are coming out of military service going into next year have a lot to prove, and I think the potential is there. Like, I mean, Classic 3 years ago was one of the best Protoss players in the world. Su, historically been one of the best Zergs in the world.
It's insane to see how much time can change the status of a player. Like, I remember just thinking Zest was basically going to be like Rogue or Maru.
Yeah.
For the next, who knows how long, 5, 6 years. And then, he falls off, and you don't see him quite come back the same way. But yeah, because the question right now for everybody here in Korea is, can Maru just keep going? Will we get a G6 or 6 SL tournament? We'll see. That's all the time we have, guys. Thursday, 5 p.m. KST. See you online or see you here in the studio. Good night.